Looks like my machine might be struggling here a little bit. You know, I'm doing something a little unique tonight, a little different. I've got some folks that are joining me on camera in the chat here. So I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, you guys have found your way to the late shift. So welcome. Happy Friday, happy weekend, happy early Easter. All those happy things. Yeah, we've got a special guest lined up, and let me take a look here and see what is chewing up. What's grabbing all here? I'm gonna kill this. I've got to kill some stuff here. Maybe that'll help. I'm gonna try one more thing as well. Let me try one more thing. Sorry about this, folks. There, let's see if that doesn't help. All right. But yeah, we've got a special guest tonight. We've got two guests, actually. And gosh, I hope, I don't think I've had two guests on at the same time. Boy, I'm seeing a lot of artifacts. You guys seeing all those artifacts? Let's see. You guys will have to let me know. I'm guessing you guys are seeing the same thing I am seeing. Yeah, bad. Thanks, Steve. I'm going to try to, let me see what else I can kill here. That's not going to be a problem. Give me just a second. You know, I was chatting with Bill a little bit earlier, and things were pretty okay. Let's see if I'm just going to try to stop some of these background processes and see if that gets any better. Yeah, that might help. We'll see. We'll see. But anyhow, yeah, I've got a special guest here tonight. We've got, we've got a couple of folks, actually, like I said. Let me get a couple of housekeeping items squared away. Just real quick, though, before we bring in our guests. First of all, I saw a couple of cards here in the chat. Brian Garrison, real early this evening, joined the Sprite Blitters. So thanks, Brian. I hope you're back in the chat. Thanks for joining the channel membership there. Much appreciated. And I also saw Tim, EOD Kaboom, also throw up his 6-month card. So congratulations and thank you, Tim. That is awesome. All right. I'm not going to mess around a whole lot tonight. I do want to share just like one thing with you guys, though. And let me see if I can find it here real quick. I've got one thing I want to show. And many of you probably saw that I sent out a newsletter that looked a little bit different. And so I've switched over the newsletter to a different service. And part of that is also changing how people join the community list. So this will be the new form that's out there. So, you know, if you've maybe looked at it and considered joining it before and you looked at it again and it looks different, that's okay. This is what it looks like now. And the good news is you can still get there with the bit.ly/CL for community lists. So that's bit.tz/CL for community list. So that's all I'm going to share because I'm excited to get to our guests. Let me see what I got here. And one of our guests, you guys all know very well, and that is Bill. Bill's co-hosting with me tonight. Hey, Bill. Let's see. Do I have Bill's audio? Talk to me, Bill. I don't have any of your audio, Bill. Boy, we're getting all the gremlins here tonight. So Bill and I got on an hour or so ago, and everything was working just dandy. So we'll see. And actually, Bill was just chatting probably just 5 minutes ago
How's it now?
backstage. Oh, we had you there for a second. You there, Bill? Bill's there. I heard the sigh. Bill's trying to get there. But Bill is going, Bill's done a great job kind of hanging out in the chat and trying to moderate and keep an eye on questions and bump me whenever I need to see important things. And that's been extremely helpful. So hopefully,
How's that?
hey, there we go. I got you, Bill. I got you. So hopefully Bill doesn't, let me down here when I put his pretty face on camera. I'm just kidding, Bill. I'm just kidding. But thanks
I
for
hope not.
joining the stream here. I don't know if you're having, let me take a look here. You may be, I don't think I did anything funky with your audio.
Oh, me? No, you didn't do it. My computer every once in a while drops Bluetooth, which has nothing to do with my audio. And then when it comes back on, everything's changed. So,
Ah,
can you hear me now?
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you, buddy. Okay.
Yeah. If it happens again, because it does happen every once in a while, I'll say disconnected. And
Well, it
yes,
sounds
I
like
need
at
a new
least it's
computer.
polite about it.
Yeah, it's a female voice too, so I can't get angry.
Ah, that's tricky. That's tricky. Well, thanks for joining again, Bill. I appreciate it. And looks like I've got a couple other quick thank yous out there. I see Ed, who is throwing up his membership card. Thank you, Ed. 2 months a member. And then Tim, Grayman Poda. Thank you, Tim. 6 months a member. That is awesome. Who's the man with the master plan? All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for being here, everybody. And I'm going to try to bring in our guest right now. Let's see here. I'm going to bring him in on the big camera. Let's go big. There he is. Stavros, how you doing? Welcome.
Hi, thanks for inviting me over.
Yeah, you bet. It's a little funny, right? I'm hosting you guys, but you guys are actually in the same place, and I'm not anywhere near you guys, right? If I'm not mistaken, you guys have a ham fest tomorrow.
Yep, we're here in North Carolina. Booth's all set up. Looks like everybody's ready to go. Met a few
Nice.
awesome people, security, everybody's great.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's I always kind of enjoy the day before, kind of getting in there, getting a chance to see everybody, um, getting set up. And it sounds like you must be having some fun because you've got a whole bunch of plans, right, for some of these different events. We had a chance to chat about that a little bit. I don't want to jump ahead, but I kind of get excited and I'll get ahead of myself. But why don't we start out? I'll give my brief introduction. I met Stavros at Hamcation, and I love going to ham fests, but there's an aspect of it that's kind of old hat. You see a lot of the same vendors. You see a lot of the very same. Uh-oh. Did I just drop? Let's see. Boy, I'm really having some.
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yep,
see.
we're good.
Kyle says, "All right, there we go. We're back." All right. As I was saying, there's aspects of Hamfest that kind of become routine and mundane and kind of boring. And whenever you see a new fresh face, a new vendor, that's exciting in and of itself. But when that new vendor actually has something that they're really excited about, and you can tell by the way that they're telling you about it, it gets you excited and it kind of reinvigorates me with that whole type of event. And that's exactly what happened whenever I met Stavros and I talked with him about his products. He was so excited to share the stuff he's done, and rightfully so. He's done some very cool stuff in an area that, Meshtastic is, there's a lot of people out there that are printing cases, doing some assembly. It's kind of this commodity game for a lot of folks. But Stavros is doing something really different. And that's what I love to see, and that's what gets me excited. So, Stavros, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your company, and give me that table pitch that got me so excited when I met you just a couple of months ago.
Sure. I've been building products in the LoRaWAN world for the past few years, and been really migrating towards being more of a product developer, product engineer, all the way from the PCBs to the firmware to the case design, until eventually the end use case or the end scenario to help people and help customers. And in the LoRaWAN world, Meshtastic and MeshCore use all the same hardware, so it was a very easy pivot to just use the same hardware and build upon those platforms. The hardware, as you mentioned, underneath the hood, everything's the same. And the only little things would be, does it have GPS? Is there a clock? Does it have a screen? And then it's case design. So trying to be different in a continually saturated environment, because the barrier to entry is so low with Meshtastic and MeshCore. Meshtastic is in the firmware is a little bit simpler because they go with a more Lego style approach. So you could buy a dead board, click a few things together, and you're up and running. And you've upgraded your device that didn't have GPS to plugging it in, and now it works. So it really gets to people just, I'll just build a case around it and I'll sell a product. And it's really good, gets a lot of people out there, but it makes it harder to be different. So I tried attacking my problem of being different in two different ways. One was hardware, and one was in software. So in the hardware, it's going to be case design. It's going to be trying to be more ruggedized. I definitely don't want to knock 3D printing. I still 3D print stuff. The outdoor PoE node is 3D printed. It's in PET glass fiber. It'll stand the test of time outside. And for certain low volume things, it definitely makes sense to 3D print. But you don't. When you go to Walmart, or you go to Best Buy, or you go to any store, you buy a product. It's not 3D printed. It's an injection molded. It was built for a purpose, and so I wanted to build a product that was ruggedized enough to withstand basically what its use was intended for, which is off-grid communication. So injection molded silicon protections, ePTFE membranes to protect against the water ingress coming in. And then the other differentiating factor was in software. Everybody, for the most part, generally we just use the pre-built source code that Meshtastic and MeshCore gives you. And I was like, well, how can I be different? And one of the things that I love doing is being annoyed at inefficiencies when it comes to power draw. When you're building LoRaWAN products, especially when they're battery powered, you're always looking at every microamp, and you want to get lower and lower because that AA battery extends from 5 years to 7 years to 10 years, and it matters, especially to the end. In Meshtastic, I was able to implement something called duty cycle. Basically, it's the ability to go on and off really quickly in sleep mode and out of sleep mode and be able to still receive the messages. And that dropped my current by 50%. As of yesterday, I did the same thing for MeshCore. So I upgraded the firmware on the LowMesh website for MeshCore. The buttons now have logic to them, the lights, the buzzer, and 50% duty cycle for MeshCore is also enabled. So
Nice.
Tackling both things, I tried to corner the market in efficiency.
Yeah. Well, I've been, the audience here, let's see if I can find there it is. The audience here knows, my affinity for this Pocket Ranger. I've been bragging on it ever since I got it. I am getting 3+ weeks. Yeah, there you go. I've been getting 3+ weeks on this. And, the first time I had that experience, I was like, did that really happen? Maybe I remember, maybe I've forgotten, a charge in there somewhere. And so I wrote it down. The next time I fully charged it, I wrote it down. I had a trip to take it with me. I took it to Connecticut, and there was a ton of Meshtastic activity in the area I was in as well. And I got 3 weeks again, like 3 weeks and 3 days. And that's after, hammering this thing, right? It's one thing whenever these things sit around and there's no traffic and they're in listing mode and, they'll run for a good long time. But then, as soon as you start transmitting, right, you start to see the graph go down a little quicker, right? But this thing has been remarkable. First of all, I'd say just the case itself is a differentiator. The fact that you're injection molded, it's really well done. You've got this silicone gasket. You've got a nice antenna. It comes with a little lanyard here. And you're selling this for like $60, right? Somewhere right around $60. I think it's a steal.
$60 is the one, the unit that I currently have. There'll be a promo in the next few months that will be $20 more expensive, but that will have GPS, RTC, and temperature, humidity, air sensor.
Gotcha. But, even just, set aside what you've done with the firmware, this is a great deal at $60, right? Just to find a well-done node, in that $50-$60 price range, there's only a couple of options, right? And this is one of the best options. Now you throw in the tweaks that you've done on the firmware, and it's tough for me to carry anything but this whenever I'm getting that kind of battery life on it. It's just crazy.
I've had emails where people were like, so I have this health tech, can I flash my firmware to your firmware? And I'm like, no. But I appreciate the good words. It helps reassure to me, especially, that the effort was not in vain.
And I'm super excited that you've been able to do the same thing with MeshCore, right? I've got one of your PoE nodes, and I've been kind of waiting around for that MeshCore option. And so much has happened since in like the last 2 weeks. You're gonna have to give me a rundown, because I looked 2 weeks ago and you didn't have your site up. You didn't even have product available. So what has happened in this last 2 weeks? It's like all the pieces started to come together, and now you're off and running.
Yeah, it's I guess I didn't walk somehow. I just sprinted and ran. I was able to get my website up, the store on Shopify, the store on Etsy was up. I was able to figure out how to do affiliate programming, an affiliate program. I did all the assembly in house, and just it all worked somehow. All the pieces fell in the way it was supposed to.
Nice. this might be a good time. Do you mind if we take a look at the website and show folks? Because, what good is custom firmware unless you have a way to maintain and manage that firmware? And you do. You've got that. You've got that capability, right?
I do.
Let's.
I want to drive you guys in a different direction, but
Oh yeah.
a couple of questions.
Okay.
Chris Bricker wants to know, because he's into this board development and firmware development. He's building his own node, but he wants to know if you design your own boards.
I do. The only thing on there that is not that I haven't designed is the actual module, the stamp module Rack 4630 that I use from Rack. But that stamp module is on a custom PCB.
And one other really quick here is any plans for reticulum?
No. I have my hands full right now with Meshtastic and MeshCore, and there's some new things with MeshCore that I'm very interested in that I'll mention later. That's going to keep me busy. But if all of the hardware, all of the hardware works if you stick within the Rack ecosystem. So even if you wanted to write your own firmware with using my hardware, it's perfectly okay. I could give you the schematic, and you could write your own firmware if you wanted to support Rectilium. I can't say that name on your own.
Fair enough. Fair. You know what? It's I can tell you've been doing this for a while. It's it's rare to find somebody who is willing to say no. And that's okay, right? It's like I think when we all get started doing things, we want to do all the things. We want to please everybody. We don't want to leave any stone unturned. I'm always impressed when I hear somebody who's willing to say no.
I have to pick my battles because I'm both features to add on and expansions like an IoT section, doing voice over the LoRa sub-gigahertz, and which I'll mention really briefly is MeshCore has an ad hoc mode now, which kind of helps bridge the gap between the differences between Meshtastic and MeshCore. There's so many new things to test and do, and honestly, MeshCore the firmware needs to be more efficient, and I want to lower the power draw on that as well. So I kind of have to focus on that. I don't want to leave what I've already built half complete.
No, I think that's it's tough, but you can't do it all, right? You do have to pick your battles, and I think that's a great thing. Actually, I think it's great that you have the wisdom to be able to say no. That's a good thing. All right.
And I definitely don't want people to think that I'm knocking on Rectilium. It's just a time thing. I just have to focus on certain things.
Yep. Makes perfect sense. All right. So we've got the website up, and we see we can go shopping here if we want, or we can flash. And let's look at this just real quick. I think this is pretty straightforward for the folks we've got here in the audience, but you can choose your flavor, and then, this answers some of those questions, right? Can you use hardware, Y or Z? No, you've got to use one of these. And I think it's taking us time there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's on my side though. I'm having all the luck tonight. So I'm on a Wi-Fi internet connection, and we've got a rainstorm that's just decided to blow in here to North Texas. So this might get interesting.
You're trying to send messages.
The goats are showing on the wires.
Yeah, exactly. But this looks pretty straightforward to me. I mean, you just go in, you pick your device. I mean, I think everyone who's flashed any kind of Meshtastic device will get this. I'll just pick one here to pick one. because I'm curious to see if you've got more than one version. So we still have one version here. I'm assuming at some point. What's your plan here in terms of how you're going to pace with the firmware upgrades coming from Meshtastic and MeshCore?
I'm going to try to stick with the betas for both as much as I can. Sometimes there are certain betas that do get rolled back, so I'm not going to trigger a release right away. And I do a diff between the two source codes and see what's different between what I have and what they've done. That way there's no... I don't want them to implement something on their end that I've implemented on my end and it breaks. So I'll probably be within a week or two behind release. So for MeshCore, I was at 0.12, and then they just released 0.14, and then I rebuilt for 0.14 for MeshCore.
Okay, I just jumped over to the MeshCore here. So we're probably... and I think this is smart too, right? Making some of this stuff easier for folks. You don't want to... The only thing you need here is the repeater firmware for this device, right? I mean, don't give people options that don't make sense. So that's good.
If they want it, I can build for it, but I mean, it is a device that's designed to be in a stationary location. So,
yep. And if we take a look at the Pocket Ranger here, there we can see we've got a couple different.
Just let you know, I don't see anything in the drop downs.
Oh, that's interesting. That is really interesting. Good to know. I don't know that I've had that experience before. So what I'm seeing here, for those of you who might not be playing along, is two versions of MeshCore for the Pocket Ranger. There's version 1.14.1 and 1.12.0. So
I've got the same thing on the stream that Stavros mentioned. I see the LowMesh page,
yeah,
but I don't see the drop down.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, this opened up. This wasn't a problem here. So, okay.
Yep. So there's two ways to upload the firmware. So when you click on actually upload on the Meshtastic web flasher, they only do UF2 for some reason. But this also allows you to flash directly through the web page itself. So that way you don't have to drag and drop files into a drive that pops up, basically.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can do that for MeshCore or Meshtastic.
Okay. Just some, there's all these quality of life things that you kind of bake in here. You're very thoughtful in that regard, and I think that's overlooked oftentimes. That's very cool. The other thing, go ahead.
I was going to say it's not an actual copy of any of the flashers that are currently existing. I put a lot of debug code into handling errors when you're flashing. So during the flashing portion, you actually have a debug button, and you can watch as every segment gets loaded to the device. And then sometimes the segment will fail, and then it will actually retry on that specific segment and then continue on. I'm just trying to reduce the how it always says, "Oop, error, please try again." I don't want to do that, because then you have to double click the button again. You have to reset the device. It just makes the user experience really bad.
Gotcha. That makes sense. The other thing that caught my eye here was the documentation section that you created here. And I went through a bunch of these, and these aren't, again, you didn't borrow these from someone else. These, maybe some of them you did, but a lot of these seem to be, there seems to be some unique stuff here.
So I don't want to take all the credit. There's a lot of AI in here as well. So there'll be, I'll write a bunch of bullet points and say, here's all the features, and please format this in a way that's readable, and I want it to be sectioned like this, and do this and do that. And so I did have a lot of quote unquote vibe coding help to do that, because to do the YAML on this would take a long time, and I was kind of rushing. So
Sure.
the one thing that's missing on this page, which I want to add, there's going to be screenshots of mobile apps. There'll be screenshots, more device specific settings, like what the buttons do, how to reset, how to, but not per device rather than just be very generic. Because right now I have on the Shopify site, I do put a lot of the settings, a lot of the instructions there, but I want to put that on the documentation site as well, and have it formatted in a way that is understandable.
Gotcha. It's kind of interesting. Certain circles, right? AI is like a bad word, right? It's like a 4-letter word. But I think like anything else, it's a tool, and you're crazy if you're not using it. I think there's an ethical way to do it. There's a smart way to do it. But if you're not using it, you're going to be a dinosaur before your time, right? That's just the reality of it.
It needs to be chaperoned, and you really shouldn't give it tasks that you can't supervise and monitor and tweak after the fact, because then you're trusting it as the primary source of truth, and you don't have any way of validating that. So it's not really good in that aspect, but if you can chaperone it, it's definitely a great, you have to use it.
Yeah. Well, the things that that I always find interesting is, I'll be using one AI in an IDE, right? And it'll generate something, and then I'll use a different AI to evaluate what this AI did, right? It's like, you need to use 2 or 3 different AI tools to get to like the real truth, right? And to get to something that's, actually going to work the way that you want it to. So I've got no problem pitting AI versus AI, right? I got no bones. Go ahead. Just give me the best answer at the end of the day. I'd love to talk to you some more about that.
Is the best answer, though, the correct answer?
Well,
no, I'm kidding. We don't have to go into the psychological.
Yeah, this can go down a whole nother path, certainly. But let's go ahead and look at the shop real quick.
Sure.
All right, and right now you've got the outdoor PoE node, and you've got the Pocket Ranger, and then you mentioned you're going to have a Pocket Ranger Pro version coming out. Do you have a timetable on that?
It's going to probably be 2.5 months.
Okay.
With everything trying to run, you have dealing with China, cash flow, potential issues. There's a lot of, and you don't know how many to order, the very first quantity. The family of Ranger ranges from 50 to 80. So the $50 unit that doesn't exist yet is the same unit that we have here, except there's no external antenna. It has a cover, it's closed completely, and it has an internal antenna, and that would be a $49.99 variant, and then it goes up from there. But yeah, we're looking at about 2.5 months.
Okay. In my mind, right, in the way that I think about these types of devices, to me, this is the perfect device already, right? I think you built the right one first. I'm not a big fan of having a screen on a device that you're going to carry, because you're going to carry your phone anyhow. And that's a whole nother thing, right? That's a whole nother big device, right? This is something I clip on my backpack or clip somewhere, and I don't think about it. I just always have it with me. I don't need a screen. I don't need a GPS on it either, right? That's just something else that's going to be sipping away at my battery. So, in my mind, This is
You're
like the
right,
perfect one.
but the
There's
only
another
caveat
node.
that I have to that. Oh well, the PoE one.
Sure,
This
sure.
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that one's currently sold out, and I sell that through Rockland. This one's currently sold out.
Okay. So I got this one. Chris just asked about that. He asked about the Pocket S and the Pocket M. And yes, I bought this one at the table next to yours from Rockland. So to answer Chris's question, are you saying those are available from right now from Rockland?
The Pocket M's are. The Pocket S's are sold out. I haven't even started a production run on those.
I got a question from my own question. Sorry to be selfish. How do I tell the difference between an M and an S?
M stands for magnet. S stands for solar.
Ah,
So
simple
magnet,
enough.
the back of your phone.
I think I have a Pocket Solar.
Correct. There was a product that was already released before mine that was already called Pocket Solar, so I didn't want to get it confused. But going really quickly back to the screen adds cost, it adds complexity, it adds battery drain. But there is something that I think is just as equally as valuable, though, which is I control the user experience. Right now,
okay.
we are at the mercy of an Android app and an iOS app, and they look completely different. Nobody knows. Somebody tells me to do some settings, and I tell them on my iPhone, and then on Android, it's completely different. But
Yeah.
with this, I can control. Okay, this is where the settings are. I control the release, the UI. I can make it user friendly as best as I can, and it's an easier sell when you say, "Here, just pick this up, turn it on, start typing." It's already pre-configured for you. And this device is also going to have a microphone and speaker because you'll be able to use it as a walkie-talkie.
Ah, very nice. Yeah. So I guess it's all use case, right? Those are good arguments for a real screen, I guess, maybe versus the little, tiny screen that we're all kind of stuck with today. Um, I had another quick question and I just lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me. I think it was a good one. I
Just
think it
to
was a good one too. Go ahead.
The community's been very supportive and helpful. So there was typos, or there will be, let's say, the not having a GPS wasn't specifically specified, or there's a lot of little things that I've been getting emails. Hey, change this, change that. UI UX, you might want to do this, and I've been very receptive to all of that coming in, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who has helped. And this is a brand new product line. We'll run into growing pains on the very first run, but I am very, very grateful for all the help. It's very different than your consumer normal culture, because normally when something doesn't work exactly as you want it, you usually throw it at the store and scream and get mad, and nobody's been like that. Everybody's been great. So thank you to the whole community.
Yeah, it's
I have a request. Sorry.
go Bill,
Including Bill,
go.
who burnt out his device.
Burned it up, baby. I hammed it, and I've learned to ask first now. But so I don't know what my buttons do. Do you have a user's manual for these devices uh, somewhere up on your
On
site?
the back of your box, there was an image of that, and I know. So I will add that to the documentation page for the per device. So really quickly, we give you this one. So this button here is the user button. Obviously, that's a USB-C. The little one is the reset, and then the one all the way here is the power button. And so they're all different shapes and sizes, so it'll help me explain it to somebody much easier. But basically, the big button, you push it once, it does something. You push it twice, it does something. You hold it down, and it'll mute, unmute. And then in MeshCore, it actually sends adverts to tell people that you're there, and it can do either zero hop or flood messaging.
Nice.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I can't tell people RTFM if there's no M.
I know what
I'm
I
not
was
one of those
thinking of.
hands who keep the boxes very long. I toss boxes. And yes, you are absolutely right. I knew it was either a small pamphlet. Sometimes you get a small pamphlet in these devices. And I knew it was either on the box or in the pamphlet. I wasn't sure which one. But I know I went, and now I don't know what the buttons do. But now I do. Thank you very much.
I have an image of the back of the box in SVG format. I could just put that on the Shopify page. That'll be quick and dirty, at least a gap stop until you get the real stuff.
The comment I was going to make, we were talking about how things don't work the same in iOS versus Android. You know, I'm on a kick to make MQTT cool again. Because I think there's like legitimate use cases for it, and everybody poo-poos it because, you know, out of the gate, everybody was just connected to the Meshtastic MQTT server, and it was a nightmare. And so I created one. I put it up in the cloud. I've given people here in the community the details so that they can connect to it. So yes, it's not off grid. Yes, we're using the internet, but I can still talk to a dude in Alaska who doesn't have anybody else around him, and he bought a node, and he's like, "What do I do with this piece of crap? There's nobody here, right? Nobody's got one. I've got to put it in a drawer until somebody else, you know, in you know the county buys one." But now I can talk to Rob in Alaska because we can communicate through this MQTT server. The thing that's interesting is the iOS implementation of that does not work. It works great on Android, but it's very flaky. I mean, you can get there, but it's not consistent. It doesn't, yeah, it's that's probably just the best way to say it. It's not consistent. So just, you know, one of my personal experience on one of those types of issues.
I'm not in the team MQTT as it relates to Meshtastic or MeshCore, only because the original or the general concept of it is to be off grid, but I can see the value of bridging networks, but then I also see the potential downsides where you could have two very large networks and now it's just too large. So I worry about the saturation over time unless there's a way to manage that.
Yeah.
And then it would be great for IoT data. You send all your data to one device on the network that's over MQTT, and now you're getting your leak data, your temperature data.
Yeah, not only, you know, I in many regards, right, this data is fairly ephemeral, right? It's on your app until you delete the conversation or the channel or something, and then it's gone, right? If you are using an MQTT server, that gives you an opportunity to save those messages as well into, you know, some other repository, right? You can, there's some interesting things you can do with it if you just don't say, this is, you know, this doesn't work because of the way everyone tried to use it, you know, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So
an untracked encrypted network that's now tracked and stored and saved for recoverable purposes.
Well, if like I've got a mesh set up on my ranch, right? And so Nobody else connects to it. It's just my nodes that are part of the network. I want to have that information to do other things with it, right? So it's not the traditional use case, but there are other use cases that, that are out there, I think.
The ability to opt in and opt out of it is also a good feature too.
Absolutely.
That way, if somebody feels uncomfortable, they can
just turn it off. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see here. Solar node. Do we want to, or it's not a solar node yet. I think you've got ideas for a solar node, but do we want to talk about the PoE node?
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
N-type connector comes with a 3 dBi, has a little mounting bracket that you can clip in place, use the screws to lock. Internally, 5 volts DC built, and then you can have USB-C or PoE. And now, I had a lot of mixed reviews for the PoE because everybody's switches are different.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it's delayed. Okay. So I provide a PoE. I provide a PoE injector with every package now because I don't want people to have a bad experience where it doesn't connect to their Ubiquiti, but it would connect to their little cheapo Netgear. So that way, PoE's there. At the show, I'll be giving out a free Ethernet cable as well. That way, they can connect it to their PoE pretty easy.
Okay.
I've got a video on this, Rob. You mind if I drop it?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Bill. Is the PoE injector a new add to the kit? Was that part of the Hamcation kit?
Yes, it was released in Hamcation.
Okay, good. Oh no, I mean, but was the injector included?
No.
Okay.
That was after the first 20 units were sold from Hamcation, and I got about 3 or 4 people came back and said it didn't work on this. I bought this, it didn't work. I bought this, it worked. I was like, okay, I think I should probably implement this just because I don't want people to be annoyed.
Gotcha. Are you going to make that available on your website? Because just like PoE is different, everyone's PoE injector is a little different as well.
I buy them on Amazon, so I could just give you the link to Amazon.
Okay. Yeah, I picked up one of those nodes, but I haven't deployed it yet down at the barn, and I'm going to be hooking it up to a Ubiquiti switch. So that caught my ear when you said people were having trouble with that.
Yeah, I definitely would. Yeah, it's only like a $5-6 part on Amazon. It'll be cheaper if you buy it off of there, anyways.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, this is again, I think you made some really smart decisions, right? In my opinion, I think any type of outdoor device should have an end connector on it, and that's I think that's great that you included that, right? They've got a little better weather resistance themselves just by virtue of what they do. They're certainly easier to weatherproof too than like an SMA or something like that. But yeah, there you go, Bill. Try to get out of your way. But
yeah, it's a waterproof SMA connector, and this is a 3 dBi. Technically, with LoRa per FCC rules, we can do a plus. We can go up to 1 watt, which is plus 30 dB. But then we can also go have up to a 6 dB gain antenna. We can technically go up to 36 dB in total. Upgraded version of this, I think Rockland sells them for 6 dBi.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I've got a Meshtastic node currently on my barn, and I bought this one to put Mesh Core on the barn as well. So that's something I'm going to be doing here once once I get once I get a chance. And certainly, I'm excited that you got some updates to. You're starting to optimize the Mesh Core firmware. So not
Yeah,
that.
so the mesh core for the repeater does not have a 50% RX duty cycle because you're connecting this
Yep.
to
Don't
power,
need
so it
it.
doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just that you're starting to look at that, it to me is exciting, right? Because you're going to find some other opportunities, I'm sure, as you get more familiar with it. All right.
Yes. So
Go ahead.
I was going to say Scott, who is one of the main developers, he developed Ripple, which is it's like an OS UI layer to Mesh Core. And he actually messaged me a few days ago, and it was more to explain how I can implement voice packet data in a developer friendly way that I don't affect anything else. But the one tidbit of information that I got from that was that there's an ad hoc mode in MeshCore. So if you enable ad hoc mode, it's a separate mode completely from the standard MeshCore protocol, but it simulates in a way Meshtastic. And when I say simulate, in the fact that 5 of us can go hiking and we're all relaying off of each other and forwarding. So kind of like an event mode. It's not built into the stock mesh core firmware yet to work with the standard like repeaters that are there, but if we can implement it in a good way that circumvents some of the issues that we might have with Meshtastic, where we do maybe too much channel utilization, it might be a really cool thing that we can start bridging the gap between MeshCore and Meshtastic.
That's going to get really interesting, right? If because right now, at least in my opinion, Meshtastic has a use case that is pretty, works pretty well, right? If you're in that ad hoc network need, that should be your go-to solution. If you're building infrastructure, then you should be going MeshCore. If MeshCore can do both, that's going to be interesting, right? If you could throw a switch and do both, yeah, that's.
So I talked to him a little bit about the LR 2021 chipset that's coming out that can handle multiple multiple data rates at the same time. And one idea that I had was, what if we could put audio on one data rate and then ad hoc data on another data rate, and then all the way at the far end, text data, because we really want that text data to go as furthest out as possible. Even though we're on the same channel, we could still separate it enough that we can potentially not interfere too much with each other, and we can still demodulate. It would require a hardware change on at least the repeaters, and then each device would have to switch until they get the newest chipset to handle both. But at least the backbone network infrastructure can handle it if we start implementing that module sooner than later. So it's I really want to have it all supported, because I think that would be really cool to have that ad hoc network, because if we do, then MeshCore could work with ATAC.
That would, I mean, now you're starting to wonder, why do I need Meshtastic if MeshCore can do all the things? Or you could look at it like, hey, maybe this is going to push Meshtastic to try to do some new things, right? To competition's a good thing.
Needs a company. For all the slack that MeshCore gives Meshtastic, and vice versa, there is Meshtastic solutions that can help push Meshtastic into a direction, especially like a B2B direction or any kind of direction. There is a steering wheel, With Mesh Core, it's not really like that yet, and I think there needs to be an entity of some kind that helps. What if a municipality wants to implement Mesh Core? Who are they going to talk to? What company can liaison the development that's now, it's just a beta tool and it's just a bunch of devs working together? In Meshtastic world, they can contact Meshtastic Solutions. We need that for Mesh Core.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. It's really interesting when you think about extending what these LoRa mesh protocols or networks or systems can do. It's we we exchanged some email a little bit, and I find it interesting. Right now, we're in this kind of interesting phase from a ham radio satellite perspective, right? That's one of my favorite aspects of ham radio, where for the longest time we probably had more satellites that you could operate via voice, right, with some sort of voice transponder on them, and you had a handful that could do digital something or other, right? Usually APRS or some packet stuff. But now we're starting to see all of these satellites implement all of these different these kind of new digital capabilities. And we're starting to see the pendulum swing where we're having more and more satellites go out that have digital capabilities and less that have voice capabilities. And, I always think about what satellites have to do to communicate digitally can often fit into the same world as what you can do with a LoRa device, right? The same types of protocols, they have to be very, very smart about their link budget. They're trying to communicate a lot of data in a short period of time, or as much data as they can in a short period of time. And, some of the challenges are the same, I guess, is maybe what I'm trying to say, right? Communicating with a satellite where you've got maybe a 10-minute window to communicate with that device, and, challenges in trying to push a lot of data over one of these LoRa networks. It's
with CubeSat.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on when the beginning video started playing the word CubeSat in your intro, and there's a buddy of mine who's very into CubeSat, and the LR chipset can do NTN and has a special modulation called LR-FHSS, which basically means long range FHSS. It's almost like a one-way link in LoRa to go beyond SF12 to do NTN style networks with the LoRa frequency, with the LoRa modulation. So it is possible to put that hardware on a CubeSat and talk to it.
Yeah, and I think there have been just some straight up LoRa satellites as well, right? That have some LoRa capabilities. But what I'm interested in is some of these different some of these kind of new digital modes, and do they have an application? Because there's some similar challenges, right? Do they have an application with this LoRa hardware in a terrestrial type of use case? We talked about some of the different protocols, some of the faster protocols that we're starting to see the satellites start to play with. That'd be interesting, right? To get, you're going to lose some distance, but depending on your height, depending on your wattage, right? All those different things, your antenna, you may be able to start pushing a little bit more data than, I think people have considered with one of these LoRa boards.
Yeah. The LoRa itself will be, right now I think the most we can go up to is either 500 or 600 kilohertz bandwidth, but it's about to be 1 to 2 1,000 to 2 for 2.5 technically will be able to go really fast with the new Semtech V4. But as you said, you lose significant amount of range when you do that.
Yeah. It. I just think it's fun that
Damn physics.
all of this stuff is kind of in the sandbox now, though, right? It feels like we have a lot more toys in the sandbox than maybe we did a few years ago.
Yeah, and the amount of libraries that are out there, like Radiolib, they just pump out compatibility drivers like overnight for all of this hardware. So it makes the maker community makes it so much easier for them to make a POC out of it.
All right. I want to be respectful of your time here, because I know you are 1 hour ahead of me, and you've got a big day tomorrow. I think we just hit 11 o'clock for you. You feel free to exit whenever you need to exit. We'll put it that way.
Sleep is for the weak. No, I was told today that you go to the show as somebody who's selling something. You go to the show early because it's going to be exhibitors exhibiting to exhibitors. So it's like 6, 7 in the morning. Everybody's going to be showing their stuff off to each other
right
before the doors even open. So that'll be exciting. But no. If we have some topics to discuss, I don't know if we want to touch on the FCC regulation topic. I don't know if we want to touch on any topics that you might have.
Sure. Well, first of all, just trying to get a sense. I know that coming back from Hamcation, I was really excited about this, and I was telling everybody about it, and nobody could buy it, right? Because it just wasn't available yet through any type of, online system or anything. And you've got that now. But also understanding that, by and large, and please correct me if I have bad assumptions here, you're kind of a one-man show. You're kind of doing it all. If people have an interest in getting one of these, my guess is, you're doing it all. You're a small business. These things are likely going to sell out fairly quickly, would be my guess. I'm not asking you for your inventory numbers or anything, but I guess I'm just telling folks that are listening, if you have any interest in these things, you want to go out and you want to grab them, because as soon as everybody else understands how amazing these devices are, you're not going to be able to get your hands on them for a while. And maybe, Stavros, you've got some secret sauce there where, you've got a super pipeline in terms of being able to get this product out and getting it refreshed and all that type of thing. But my gut just tells me, if you want one, you better get one.
Elves. Yeah, so I have my label printer in the car. I've got all of my packaging in the car, and I got all my inventory in the car. Wherever I go, if I get an order, I ship it out to whatever nearest USPS there is. So I pull in help, obviously. If it gets really crazy, you just hire a bunch of temp workers, short term. If it gets to the point where I'm getting orders that are like, hey, we need 500 of this, 1,000 of this, at those quantities, that's where I will start offloading that to China to do. But at the current rate and the current process, I like to do it myself, because nobody's going to optimize the process better than me. I have to do it. So if I'm the one building it, I'm going to realize, okay, screwing it in this way and putting this thing in this way is the wrong way to do it. Don't do it this way, because you'll have this and this issue. So basically real world. So, a CEO will be like, okay, just go assemble this and give it to me, and that's it. But
Right.
I need the practical, hands-on experience in order to properly even tell China, like, hey, I need you to do it this way, because if they do something, it gets shipped here, it takes 2 weeks, then they have to ship it back. It's just going to be a pain in the ass. So yeah, so I do everything local. I do, right now I'm assembling them out in Pennsylvania. As far as numbers, 150 or so left. The PoE ones, I'll probably have like another close to 100 more for the next show over at Hamvention. But then I got to put in another inventory. So worst case scenario, if I'm ever out of stock, it's a 4 to 6 week lead time.
Gotcha. Well, I can tell you at your price point, with some of the other products that, many of us have some familiarity with, the numbers that you're talking about, those sell out, like the morning that the show started, because most of them sold the night before the show started. It's,
Are you telling me I should increase my price?
I'm telling you should increase your inventory. So yeah, you'll be able to sell them, but I get it. And I saw somebody in there that says, respect the hustle. Yeah, definitely. I do too. I think it's great. What you got going on and what you're doing. That FCC topic that you had sent over to me, I was completely unaware of that. I did not know that. I think that is fascinating. I'll bet you we have lots of...
Fascinating, good or bad?
I think on one hand, it blows my mind that nobody's paying attention or nobody cares. At least that's the way it seems, right? We'll talk about it. You'll inform the group here. But on another hand, it's like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I am.
Yeah.
Why don't you enlighten the folks here so they know so they can get in on this as well?
I'm trying to think of how technical I should get. I'll start off with not too technical. FCC in the ISM sub-gigahertz band for the type of technology we're using, which is LoRa, requires us the width of our band. So let's say we're on 915 megahertz. We have our data is spread across a certain bandwidth. Now, Mesh Core by default uses 62.5. Meshtastic is at 125 and 250, and they recently implemented 500, which is the correct number, in the turbo settings, which is good. So what does this mean? In the closer your bandwidth is, the more power you can push in that window of time. If your bandwidth is 62 kilohertz and 500 kilohertz, your same 120 milliwatts of power is being spread across a much wider window. So that means that your range is going to be completely different. So in MeshCore, people are seeing great range with MeshCore because the power output is spread across 2 times a shorter distance than Meshtastic. And they're like, oh, Meshtastic, the range doesn't go as far. That's because the radio settings are different. If you do the same radio settings, it'll match at 62.5. Now here comes the problem. FCC regulates this and says, here's your rules. You have to, if you want to stay at 62.5 kilohertz, or any value, to be honest, under 500 kilohertz, you have to implement something called FHSS, which is Frequency Hop Spread Spectrum. That means that you have something called a dwell time. You cannot be on a channel. A channel is just a specific frequency for more than 400 milliseconds every 20 seconds. So if you split that out, that means that you need to have a minimum of 50 channels every 20 seconds that you're going through. So you have to go channel 1, 30, 29, and it has to be pseudo-random as well. So you have to be hopping all over the place. LoRaWAN is 64 channels. and they use an eight channel subband per gateway. So, or 8 channels per gateway. How do they go around it? By only doing 8 channels instead of 64. FCC has a third mode, which is called hybrid. Hybrid mode allows you to basically do 125 kilohertz bandwidth, but you're limited. You can't do 1 watt. You have to be under a watt in order to be in hybrid mode. And you need to prove that your device can still operate in a full 64 channel mode if it needs to. So that's hybrid mode. So MeshCore currently uses MeshCore and Meshtastic. They're on a single channel. The bandwidth is less than 500 kilohertz, and they don't jump from frequency to frequency. So to stay within legal limits, technically, the bandwidth needs to be set at 500 kilohertz. You can do whatever data rate you want. You could do any coding rate you want. It doesn't TX power is still rated at 1 watt, but you have to be at a 500 kilohertz bandwidth on a single channel. If not, you have to implement this FHSS strategy. Whew. I think I did it.
You got it. You did it. And
so, why am I worried about this? One is, as a product owner, I worry about it as liability, right? I'm selling a product that people are using incorrectly. So I do have a disclaimer on Shopify. Please operate this within the legal limits of your region. Just like a car, you buy a car and you can go 200 miles an hour or you can stay the speed limit. It is your choice. So that liability is one issue. The other issue is all of the range testing, the packet loss, the maybe deduplication testing, the collisions that we're running into, the prevention by staying in 62.5 kilohertz, especially in Seattle, you stay away from a lot of the meters that are running. And so if you're at 500 kilohertz, now you're basically interfering with other noise environments. So I'm worried that the experience that everybody's having right now, which is amazing, may not be so amazing later. So we just need more people to test the actual settings that we're supposed to be using, and that has to be enforced.
Now, a lot of people are just using somebody else's boards, right? Where you're designing your own boards. Does that, but you're using somebody else's silicon, right? You're using somebody else's chip. It's interesting, right? Where is the true liability, right? Where, is it in the software implementation? Is it in the capability of the hardware? Is it a shared responsibility? It's, and I don't know the answer, right? I just wonder, right? Who's responsible? Because nobody seems to really be paying attention, right?
So I don't know because I'm not a lawyer. But what I do know is a person can I'm assuming you could make the case at every level that entity would be accountable. Meshtastic or MeshCore could be accountable because they give you regional settings that are default. Those regional settings by default are illegal. So by nomenclature, that would mean that they are doing something wrong. Now, you could say at a hardware level, well, if you buy a dev kit and you use the third party's builds, you don't write or do anything with the firmware, there's not much you can change. Now, it's potentially possible that, like for me, I could lock the settings from the mobile app so it won't register anything under 500 kilohertz. Mm-hmm. It's theoretically possible, but then nobody would buy it.
Right.
It's like,
right.
It has to be a joint effort. I think you can also go back to that car analogy where, every chip that you buy can modulate at a frequency outside of the US. I can push that Semtech chip to modulate outside of 902 to 928 and be completely out of bounds. Now, whose fault is that?
Right.
It's
Right.
not the chips. It's not Semtech.
Right. Well, in that case, it's the guy who wrote the firmware that allows it to do that, I think. Right? Maybe. Maybe. Um, have
More and more
you?
serious players are coming to the table. We're talking first responders, emergency alert systems, hurricane disaster relief style companies. How can they can't? Well, at least if they know, they would. If they knew that they are operating outside of the regulated thing, they wouldn't install it. They wouldn't implement it.
Right. Right. Because they have much more risk, right, than
Correct. Correct.
kind of the
They're not a
average
hacker
person.
maker who's
Right.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you like approached Meshtastic Solutions and said, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" I'm just curious if you've tried to have any of those conversations, right? Because I think at the end of the day, I think you're right. It's a shared responsibility, right? Everybody has to work together to do the right thing and put out a product that is legal. And
I cannot speak for any entity. Uh, I will say generally, I'm not saying Meshtastic or Meshcore. I think that would be unfair to those companies. Wow, can be so professional when I want to. No. There's the general consensus that I feel is there's a lot of finger pointing and saying, well, they're doing it, so why can't we keep doing it? And nobody is changing.
yeah,
What I will say for Meshtastic's point is they did implement settings that are approved. That was a recent change, and that you can set in the mobile app. I think it's called short turbo and long turbo, and those will work. In MeshCore in the mobile app, you could always select 500 kilohertz. It's just not a default setting. They don't really have default settings like Meshtastic does. And then other people, generally, who have implemented it, not related to the teams, they say, well, I just don't want to lose the network coverage. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. Interesting. Well, it'll be.
So I don't know.
I think you're right there, right? As larger players come to the table and get interested in this technology and look for ways to leverage and use this technology, right? Their risk profile is much different. They will either pick it up and kind of push it into a direction that meets their risk profile, or they'll drop it and they'll move on to the next thing, right? So,
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch, certainly. So, you are obviously a person who lives, eats, and breathes this stuff, right? This is your gig. This is your thing. What are you excited about? What do you see that has you excited? And what are you willing to share? Maybe how you might be trying to push your products in some of those exciting directions.
Well, the ham radio community was very new to me. I understood, or I, in passing and talking with friends and people, I understood what ham radio was, but I didn't realize how much of a community and lifestyle it was. And to be honest, everybody's been great. I haven't actually found anybody who's been, Debbie Downer, somebody who's been so negative. Everybody's, understanding. They treat you like family, even if you don't have a call. And for me, it's exciting to meet new people, especially at shows. So, you sell a product for $60 and, however percentage the markup is, let's say it's $20, hypothetically. And, okay, but I met this cool person. I helped him out, we're both getting something out of it. I'm not price gouging him. I'm helping him. I'm being a part of what he wants to build. So a lot of the community building is in the ham radio community for me, especially at a starting point of selling a product, I think was the right decision. And that's what makes me excited to meet new people. As far as technology is concerned, what gets me excited is implementing voice, if only at a limited capacity, because I really think voice will start to personalize some of the interactions that we have. A lot of the pushback you get when you sell this kind of stuff is great. So if Armageddon doesn't happen, this stuff's useless. And it's like, okay, fair. That's one use case. But what is the other use case? How can a business implement this? Oh, well, a ski resort could see the GPS location data of all their people, and they don't need to pay for a very expensive LoRaWAN network. They could just implement this for free. Free meaning no recurring revenue model. Or bikers can know. And then when I went to DEF CON, I didn't realize that it was such a big community of protesters who love Mesh-tastic at the time, because they shut their phone off, they text each other through this network while they're protesting, and okay, great, that's a use case. So I think voice, and then maybe even the potential of playing like these short, tiny little games, something interactive. Maybe it's a little childish, but I think that would help push some of the features. Because once you get voice, once you get games, you've now created a bidirectional pipeline of sending data, encoded data that is verified. It doesn't have to be voice. It could be a photo. It could be files. It could be whatever you want. It's just voice is the first avenue in order to implement that. I don't. It was in my head. It was like, oh well, maybe I could make like MeshCore V2, but I think I dropped that idea pretty quick. But I definitely would love to help MeshCore, if possible, or maybe push another company to adopt MeshCore as their be the liaison between some of the big players. If you can you get a government contract with this kind of stuff? Can you Lockheed Martin or Disney, or I'm just dropping names here, but basically you need an entity in order to talk to very big people, and I would love to help with that. That makes me excited, but I know a lot of people who love screens, minus you, and I think that a screen with a UI that is the T-Deck is the device to beat for an all-in-one product. And LilyGo and WaveShare, even though WaveShare is not part of Meshtastic, but they make a ton of screens, they are the screen company to beat. And so if I could make a product that can beat,
it's not that I hate them. I have them, but
you put up with them.
Yeah, I'll deal with them.
You hate to love them. Yeah, it's not waterproof. You can't. You're not. It's very heavy. You're not going to take it with you camping or hiking.
Right.
The tactile feedback on the keyboard is really nice, but there's a lot of pros and cons when it comes to product development and deciding on what features should be in there. And I'm hoping to try to make a competitor to that at some point too.
Yeah, the other thing is they just don't seem very durable. You know what I mean? They seem, more susceptible to damage, certainly.
Spec 5, I think, even though they're a bit expensive, they do repackage all of the T-Decks into a much more ruggedized container.
They do have a nice, is it the Ranger? Do I have that right? I think it's the Ranger. Yeah. I think another...
Rack even did one with an N-type connector.
Right. Yeah, I think Jason's got Jason Ham Radio 2.0. I think Jason's got one of those.
Somebody called it the Tomahawk.
Yeah. It's because it's got I forget the name of the antenna. It's got that kind of big, wide, flat antenna on it, right?
Well, it's an N-type antenna, and it uses some type of alpha. It's the company's
an alpha. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Something else that I think about is better support for, people coming in and out of the mesh, right? There's, there's a store and forward capability currently in Meshtastic, right? If you're running um, certain chipsets, we've seen a number of BBSs pop up as well, right? There's the low BBS, there's the TC2 BBS. Those
No BB-8s.
no, I BB8s. I don't think
It's
I've.
a Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've now a BB8 node that is also your personal robot might be really interesting.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah. Um, but to me, that feels like a capability that's not fully kind of built out that could be really important, right? To have some ability, because you have limited range in the mesh, right? To have some ability to do some sort of store and forward, or, kind of have some mail system, if you will, be part of the mesh infrastructure. I don't. Any thoughts on that? Have you toyed around with that idea at all, or?
Well, I know with MeshCore they have that room server, right?
Oh yeah,
That
see,
allows you to
I always forget
a
about
bulletin
that.
board. Yeah, so you could put community messages there, and then when people get onto the network, they can receive the latest community messages, which would be really good in like an emergency or some type of hey, for like, we understand the power's out. We'll be give us like an hour or two.
Yeah, yeah, it's I don't. It just feels like a feature that needs more attention. You know what I mean? It just seems like there's more utility there than. I mean, I never see anybody using store and forward. I think you have to have the ESP32 chipset in order to do store and forward, and then you've also got to have some sort
Well,
of
they have a ton of room there.
storage. Yeah.
Yeah. I know with you like MQTT. I know with MQTT you can do something like called like a device twin in AWS. Basically, you have a message queued per device, and when they log in, that message gets sent when you connect over MQTT.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's how they do device settings. So you can store device settings as I think it was like a single JSON file that gets swapped.
Mm-hmm.
So you update settings, the device boots up, and then they'll get the new file.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Cool.
Yep.
Well, what else do we have? Bill, you've been awful quiet. I know it's hard to get a word in edgewise. Anything that
I was letting the smart guys talk.
well, I'm just asking dumb questions. I'm listening to the smart guy.
I am far from an IT data guy, so I just was being quiet. But there's a couple of questions. One was sort of a practical device question, and they mentioned, let me see if I can quote this right. They mentioned Ethernet, and is there any chance that you're going to develop or push in the area of developing Ethernet that will carry data as well as power?
Who said that?
Who asked that?
Okay.
I can't remember. It's up in the chat, but somebody asked, any chance? I do remember it was. I got the general idea. We talked about the PoE node, and it carries power only right now. Is there any chance that you develop that? I don't know if it was him or not. No, it wasn't Grayman.
It's okay.
Maybe it was. Grayman has asked
I'll
about something down there at the bottom. I don't know if he's trolling or not, but data and internet
I want to
and
see
programming.
it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the reason why I bring this up, or don't ask why I have this in my wallet. It's like a love letter. It's like a love letter to me.
If it's
I get to keep this.
If it's got Gray Man cologne on it, I'm really worried.
I also have his card. So during Hamvention, I was able to have quite a nice intellectual conversation with him related to how ham operators work, how they live and breathe in the technology, and how it relates to this device and how it can be tweaked for better utilization. What that means is upgrading the 120 milliwatt to a 1 watt radio. That means going from 5 volts to 12 volts. That was something that was discussed as a potential upgrade. And then the last one, but probably the most important, is the ability to have a DHCP server running locally that you could do data over IP address, and you would be able to update the firmware remotely. That is all being designed. That is currently in the works, but that won't be available anytime soon, but that will be a new version at some point. It might take 2-3 months at least. So at the moment, how it's going to work would be there would be it's ESP32 plus a 1 watt radio, plus obviously the PoE module. You would get your IP address, local IP address, and you'd be able to ping that IP address, and then it would serve up its own internal web page, and then you would update by dragging and dropping a file. That's how it would work. At some point, I was thinking, how to make more money, which was, well, maybe I could make a service. If you want to get alerts on this, if it ever goes down, let's say it gets unplugged, or you want to update this firmware and you're in Japan for some reason, maybe I could do like a $1 a month remote management fee. You could do all the stuff you can locally, but if you want to do it remotely as well, as a potential, and that connects to my MQTT cluster, which I love. I love building MQTT clusters. So I have that love for MQTT, just only in IoT.
Well, that's where it came from, right? That's really what it's all about. And I'm just trying to get some of that into Meshtastic or MeshCore, right? Just trying to get other people interested in it. So yeah, that's interesting.
Put me at the front of the list for that node you just described. And here's a rant from Bill. Whenever I meet someone who has a single closed-minded use case or anything, and it doesn't satisfy that single need in their head, and they refuse to see the other use cases. And you guys were talking about the other use cases for these 900 megahertz devices. I try to end that conversation and move on, because things are often so much bigger than just the single tiny way that some people see them. So I find this interesting. Do I talk to a lot of people? I got nodes all over the place. No, but I find it fascinating that there are so many possibilities.
There are, but and for me, I have to make sure that I don't get stuck in an echo chamber where I am just only looking for people who agree with me. I need people who disagree with me, because I can't see both sides of the story. I am a human. I'm in fact.
You ain't no ham. Like, you just gave yourself away. You're not no ham.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
It's okay. Once I get the license, it'll change. I'll be like, no, it's the only way to do it. This is the only antenna that works. No.
That's right.
We know some people that can help you with that.
Comes with
sounds like we've been
figured out.
That's all right. It sounds like we've been doing a good job of hiding those folks from you, which is, that's ideal, right? Until we get you sucked in and you get a license, and then they all come out. Then we let them loose.
It's okay. They're all still playing with Morse code. I don't have to worry about them yet. Sorry.
Bill's a Morse code guy, so that was beautiful. You didn't know how beautiful that was.
Ooh.
But I'm not offended. No, I'm not offended, dude. I do my thing, and if it ain't for you, more power to you. Long as you don't mess with my right to do it how I do it.
That's it. That's kind of the motto around here.
at Hamvention, there was this older gentleman who I helped give. I gave him a screwdriver when he was setting up his booth. He had an issue with the TV monitor. But anyways, it was a Morse code related product. And he was only a few booths away from me, and he told me the most interesting story about how he asked me where I was from, and I'm like, oh, I just moved to Pennsylvania. And he's like, where? And I said I wanted to go to Pittsburgh because it reminded me of Seattle, and to me, I like the mountains, but we live near Hershey right now. And he was like, oh, in Pittsburgh they've got a light blinking, and it's blinking in Morse code. Pittsburgh, the word Pittsburgh, because he said he was sitting in a restaurant one day just looking at this red light blinking, and he decoded it and it said Pittsburgh. I was like, wow, it was just a random interesting story that you get at Hamfest shows, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. You bump into a ham, you're going to get a story. There's no two ways to get about it. Now, how interesting it is, that'll be up for debate, but you'll get a story. So is this your second Hamfest tomorrow? Or have you snuck in a few others? I know you were at Hamcation.
This will be my second Hamfest. I was at Maker Faire before Hamvention, which we were trying to sell there. We didn't really sell much. It was a lot of younger kids. I think it would have been better off for us to show the product and explain it rather than be there as a seller, but be there more as an interactive, fun thing for kids. Yeah. And then I've been to DEF CON, been to CES, but tomorrow will be my second official Hamfest. Then I will be at Hamvention in Dayton, and then I will be in DEF CON, hopefully, if I get tickets. But then Alabama?
Yeah, Huntsville. Yeah. Okay.
Ping-ponging all over the country here.
Yeah. Well, that's, we've got a merry band of travelers that, we stay in contact through YouTube and, All-Star and all these other different technologies, MQTT servers and everything else. And then everybody converges for a long weekend. And then, it's like a traveling circus or something, right? Everybody comes together, hangs out, has a good time. You move on to the next one. So that's part of the appeal for me, certainly. Are you looking to buy anything tomorrow? Do you have your eye on anything? Or is anything, are you starting to get a bug for radio?
So I'm going to drop his name and I'm actually looking for his message. So a buddy that I work with, his name is Adarsh. He has some really cool stories. How he went to, I think, Antarctica with doing this radio project, and I can't explain it like him. But he's looking for something, and I was going to look for him. He says he has a radio. I'm just reading his message. He has a Radio Oddity HF009. It's pretty good, but needs tuning, so I can't give it to someone when I'm not there to tune it. He wants to get something to put on a sled for a guy going to Greenland. He needs something that runs on 20 M band. So I don't know. I think the HF009 is a wideband. It has a huge frequency, and he wants something only for one band. That way he doesn't have to tune it.
Gotcha.
I think he's in the chat. I think the last message is from the bottom of the chat.
Adarsh Maman? Yep, he says, I am here. Very cool.
So he's looking for something. He's got crazy stories of doing data whisper packets in Antarctica and the propagation, going all over the world, and how temperature and everything. So he's the guy that actually passed the ham radio exam, all 3 levels with a perfect score.
Gotcha.
Golden unicorn.
So Adarsh, you should you should take a look at. Well, let's see here. I can pull it up. Let me see if I can get this ready here.
While you're clacking on that keyword,
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
the farthest whisper I've ever gotten was to Antarctica, and I was chuffed. I thought that was amazing.
Why? Here we go. Let's see. I don't know why. I am not finding it here. Let me see. How about this? There's lots of cool whisper. I mean, it sounds like you're already down deep in that rabbit hole. But there's lots of cool whisper projects and activities out there. I was trying to remember one I was looking at recently here. I'm probably not going to find it. Yeah, I don't think I can find it. But anyhow, if you're not already familiar with an organization called HamSci, you should look that up. Let me... Where are we at here? So they do lots of what they call citizen science type projects, and they've got a project that specifically works off of Whisper, and it's this personal space weather station. So this is, it sounds like this would be right down your alley. If you're not familiar with it, I would just go check out this website. I think you'll find some really interesting stuff that you'll be able to geek out on. Sounds like it might be right down your alley. So if I think of that that other service, I thought I had it bookmarked, but I couldn't find it. If I think of that other website, I'll drop it in the show description. But certainly HamSci is cool and worth checking out. All righty. Well, let's see here. I know we're approaching midnight, so I certainly want to thank you for coming on and being willing to do so when you're traveling and trying to get set up for a show and all those types of things. It was great to chat with you. Great to learn more about the way that you're approaching this stuff. I got a great sense in talking with you at Hamcation. It was a lot of fun to see your energy and excitement and the interesting things you're doing. And after talking with you a little bit more, I'm just even more excited to see what comes of it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Certainly, this is a great group of people that are interested in these kinds of things. So anytime that you want to come back to the channel and talk about any of the progress you're making, or even if you just want to hang out and geek out for a while, please, you've got an open invitation. You can come back anytime you like. And thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm trying to give you an out here so that you can go to bed. I know you've got to be getting tired.
I know. Oh, yeah, man, God, I'm originally from New York. Me and you will be able to talk forever. What I was going to say was, really thank you for, obviously the interview today and for me to explain some of the tech stuff. But more importantly for me, at Hamcation, you were basically my ambassador in a way, because everybody knows Rockland and nobody knows LowMesh at the time, and everybody was just zipping by me, and I would have like maybe one person be like, "Hey, what's this?" And then there's like 15 people over at Rockland, even though we were selling pretty much the same stuff, and my stuff was selling over there. But nobody knew. And then you came over and you did a quick like 10-second or 15-second video. You were very impressed. You were happy, like, "Oh, this is the note of the to beat at the show." So thank you. You gave me a lot of foot traffic. You gave me confidence. I'll even have to say at one point, there was having all of these YouTuber people come up to me like, "Hey, do you want an interview? Do you want an interview?" Originally I was saying no, and then eventually, I got the confidence to do that. So I thank you for, being there and happy with the product. It definitely pushed the show in a much better direction.
Well, I can't take any credit. Like I said, you got me excited. I think you've got a fantastic product. I love what you're doing with it. I can't believe I'm still getting over 3 weeks of battery time on this thing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's awesome. So, I'm going to count you as a friend of the show. And like I said, you're welcome to come back and hang out or share or any of the above anytime you like. So it's
hey, folks, I just dropped.
Go ahead,
I just dropped Digital Rancher's affiliate link to LowMesh in the chat. Stavros is an outstanding guy. I was there standing at his table. He didn't know me from anybody, not that I am anybody, and he was just a wonderful person. So head on over there. These devices are fantastic. I bought this one. Loyal from Ham Radio Crash Course kept pushing me. He's like, "Get that one, get that one, get that one." I guess Loyal had a lot of success with this one, so I had to step over to the next table because you get these from Rockland. But in emails later, when I blew things up and didn't know things, Stavros is right on it, man. He's one of the guys you want to deal with. So head on over there, use that affiliate link, and go check things out.
Yeah, certainly. You guys heard it, right? He's got 100 or so. This kind of group knows how to eat 100 devices in no time flat. So that's there's precedent there, certainly. It's crazy.
If your server breaks, blame Rob.
All right.
Yeah, and, there's a little email thing on the LowMesh site too, and while I am pretty busy with doing this kind of stuff, if there are more technical questions either related to my stuff or maybe implementation of a Meshtastic or MeshCore style network, and you need to know, I'm not gonna push someone to buy my product if it's not the right use case. I will give you whatever. I will recommend you the right product for whatever you need, whether it's from Rack or Rockland or Liligo or Seed. At the end of the day, that's what builds.
Here's an endorsement. Sorry to cut you off. Everybody knows that Dave, KB5UTY, is the resident Seed mesh dealer. And he's endorsing your products and you in the chat right now.
Thank you, Dave. And it was nice meeting you at the show. And I even complimented him out when I saw his video the day before. There was a previous day he did a video on the differences between Meshtastic and MeshCore, and I complimented him, how he did it very professionally, because sometimes with talking about MeshCore and Meshtastic, certain people or certain entities can get upset or feel more feel like it's almost like a personal attack. And when people can explain the differences and not take a side, it's something to learn from. So I that's how I actually met him, and then a bunch of other people came by the booth. So nice meeting you, Dave, and hopefully we'll see each other at the next show in Dayton.
Yeah, there you go. It is interesting. Stavros, you're going to see the same thing. in ham radio, right? If you decide to dive in and get a little closer to that and maybe get your license, right? People
I will
are the
get my
same way.
license, I promise.
People are the same way when they're talking about ICOM or Yaesu or Kenwood. It's yeah, people, it becomes like part of a personal identity, I think. Yeah, people take it serious. So it's
I'm thinking of
interesting.
changing my last name to Lab 599.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, hey, I hope you have a fantastic show this weekend. Hope you sell out. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing you in May. I mean, that's just right around the corner. That'll be here before we know it. So that'll be a good time. I know you're a really busy guy during the shows, but I think we corrupted Dave. So we'll try to corrupt you in the same manner. We usually have a stronghold of YouTubers and all of our friends that's usually within a beer's walk of the show floor. So certainly come over and hang out, say hello, and come over, get something to drink, take a load off your feet if you can't. I know you're a one-guy show. You got to bring somebody with you for that show, right? It's just too big for too long. You need to be able to get away from the table for a little bit of time. Maybe you can draft a Darsh. Maybe he can come with you and help you man the table.
He did say he wanted to come, but not to help.
he's smart. He's smarter than we thought. He's a step ahead. So no, it's but seriously, we'll certainly let you know where we hang out. It's the same place every year, and it's always good to get away, step away, and decompress a little bit. And you're more than welcome to come over and hang out whenever you have a moment, or after the show when things close, whatever. So
I know at night you guys had like a bonfire outside where all the campers were. And I saw some interviews going on then. Yeah,
it's maybe not a bonfire, depending on the weather and everything else, but there'll certainly be like, a lot of whiskey, a lot of cigars. I think if you put those together, maybe you end up with a bonfire, but we've got all the makings of a bonfire, certainly. But
I'll bring the s'mores or the marshmallows.
There you go. Awesome. Well, I mean, I think I told you this before. I mean, this crew here, after we kind of get through our topic, I kind of let the chat steer us, and sometimes we stay up for several more hours. I'm not expecting that of you. I wanted to give you an exit and an out and an off ramp. You are free to take that, but you're also free to hang out if you want. Either is completely fine. But
I'm in the HOV lane with one driver.
There you go. All right. Well, let's see here. Again, hang out for as long as you like. See, my problem is I start drinking this Ghost Energy at like 8 o'clock, and that usually powers me for much later than I should let it, but it does. All right, let's see what else we've got going on here. Normally, what I do at the beginning of the show is I go through a segment called This and That, where I talk about things I've seen over the course of the week. I was a lazy dude this week. I did none of that because I was hoping, and thankfully I was able to get a guest on. So I'm going to open it up to the chat and see if we've got anybody out in the chat that's got a topic that they would like to touch base on. And while they're doing that, give them a minute, give the YouTube lag a minute to catch up. I'm also going to check something that I haven't looked at in quite some time.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
On my screen,
Oh, yeah.
you
Let's see.
should see. I don't know where this photo came, but it may or may not have originated in Orlando.
Can I blow that up? I'm looking to see
I
if I
don't
have a way
know.
to blow that up. I don't think I,
That's
well,
that's all right. So, but basically, that is the closest we've been to a bonfire, and that's everybody in the circle of wagons.
oh, wait a minute. This is the drone
I,
footage before,
I don't
um,
I don't know what you're talking about.
before the wet blanket.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
may or may not be in the background. There is Dave's trailer on the right. On the left is Cam 4 ACKs.
This might
That
be a little bit
fire
better.
ring right there is Jason Ham Radio 2.0, and that's everybody hanging out and commiserating. And you can't see any whiskey, so don't say the word whiskey. But there's cigars and camaraderie down there. It was a great time.
Yeah, so we basically call it the compound, right? So
That
we
that
we
is
we set up the
that
compound. You got
is
RVs all around it, and just just a good time.
Yep.
Thanks for
So
sharing that, Bill.
make your way over there, Stavros.
All right, let's see here. Let's see if we gave the chat enough time to come up with something that they're interested in. Let's see. A mesh mapper visualizer. Yeah, there's a couple of those. We can look at that. Something I just want to quickly look at because I have not looked at it in, I haven't looked at this in weeks. I want to make sure my node is still working. So this here is a project called Tiny Ground Station, and so this uses a little ESP32 based radio that you load some firmware on, and allows you to capture packets from various satellites. And I haven't looked at mine for a while. I want to make sure again that it's still operating.
I've got three, and you think that I was going to get money from it. I look at it like twice a day.
Well, you know what? I was in a good habit of looking at it frequently, and then something else stole my attention. It's still working, so this is good.
You're killing it there, man. Look at that heat map.
Yeah, the heat map looks pretty good. And then looks
I
like I'm
got
averaging somewhere around maybe 900 packets a day.
Wow, you got me beat, buddy. Take a look at mine. It's not as impressive as yours, and I got 18 shinies though.
Oh, let's see. What
Little
is...
like HRT. Go to HRT2.
Yeah, I was just looking to see. I wanted to see where the shinies were. Where are they listed?
That Dex.
What's that?
That Dex.
Oh, in the sat
So
decks.
go back to your console. Sat Dex. Go back to your console. Not that one. You might have to sign in to see
Oh yeah, I'm not logged in.
your
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
logged in. Okay, that's okay. What? You are HRT2.
Yeah, just search HRT and look at the
Um,
second one.
this guy right here.
Yeah, look at number two. Number two. No,
Then I.
that's my best one.
This is number 2, right?
Yeah. That's it. That's my best one.
Well, Bill, your best isn't very good, buddy. Look at. I mean,
Uh,
what's going on here, buddy?
I don't know. If you take a look at all three, you'll see that is the best one.
I mean, your heat
I
map
don't
doesn't
know.
look bad.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Like I said, it's not the best node out there, but I enjoy it. Seeing the three of them work.
Do you have an LNA or any kind of filtering?
Here's the deal. So if you go back to HRT, search the HRT, and then look at them, um, Node 1 has the LNA and the bandpass, and it doesn't perform as well.
Ah,
Node 2 has the LNA with no bandpass. So that's the LNA and the bandpass.
okay. And
Node
then
2 has only
yeah,
the
that's the first
LNA
one we
and
looked
no
at,
bandpass.
and
And
it's
Node
doing
3 doesn't
better.
have anything. Yep, it's doing better than 1. And Node 3 has nothing. That's the 137 node, and I gotta get an LNA for that because
Oh yeah.
it's been up for quite a while and it's not receiving anything. And it is the correct node, and it is slash, and it is set to receive on 137, but it just doesn't receive anything. So I got to work on those, but I got other stuff I got to
What
do.
kind of antenna do you have on it?
They're all on the discone. That may
Oh,
be
okay.
it too. And someone didn't tune the discone; he just put it up straight out of the box. So
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting. You're
that
using
may be.
400 LoRa,
And tuning it down to 137, right? So you know how you were talking about using frequencies that it's not really designed for. Yeah, that particular LilyGo. If you look at the specs on the LilyGo on that LilyGo board, it has a really wide capability, but it's advertised as a 430 megahertz device.
which normally you can only buy in China.
It's difficult to get your hands on. Yeah, it's now I mean they will have it on Amazon. It's like usually it'll be there for a little while and then it's gone and then you have to wait months for it to show back up.
And a little bit higher price than the other nodes as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, but and I'm trying to remember uh what that chipset is. It's a slightly different chipset that has
SX
that
1270,
1278.
1262, and
1270.
1278.
Is that it? The
Yeah,
1278?
1262 is 1262 is what we use right now in Meshtastic and Meshcore. 1278 is the older chipset, but
Yeah.
both of them are coming to 400 variant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 1278, that's it. Yeah, it's interesting. So this project's kind of cool. They create a firmware for you. They host the firmware. Let's see. Why am I not seeing it here? I must have missed it.
What's that?
Oh, it's a little bit of a process. I was looking for the uh I think I have to log in. That's why I'm not seeing all my stuff.
Right. If you go to SatDex, not SatDex, if you go to, if you, you have to, if you log in locally to your node and give it a command line exclamation point W, it'll give you a URL that'll log you right in.
Yeah, I still have mine set up to they did something really interesting with this. They have it tied into Telegram. And so whenever you go to do a login,
Yep.
you there's like this bot that gets installed on
It's
Telegram,
an
and then
it's an MQTT bot.
yeah,
And I avoid it like the plague. That's why I just log into my node locally.
it's the personal bot.
It's the same one every time, by the way. So if you just look
Oh, is
into
it the
your
same every time?
messages, yep. If you look into your messages, your username and passcode are the same.
I didn't.
At least mine are.
Well, I'm sure that's the case. I never paid any attention to that. Let me see if I can find mine real quick here so we can pull it up. Yeah, this should be it. Maybe not. Let me see if it looks different. Well, it doesn't look any different. See, it says that token expired, Bill.
Interesting. Hmm. Huh. Okay.
So there's got to be something a
I have no.
little bit different.
I have no problem admitting when I was wrong.
Let me see here. I'm curious now. I want to take a minute here and just log in real quick.
Do you have your node IP memorized? Rememorized. I'm losing it.
I don't know that I do. Said it's been so long since I've looked at this thing. Oh, I got something else going on.
I look every day because I'm hoping that 137 node receives something at some point in time. But
yeah. I'll have to troubleshoot that later and see what the deal is. But it is kind. Do you have yours? Well,
do I have mine what?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a lot of stuff on there, it's probably not very, very interesting. They do a kind of
I
a
have a sat
leaderboard.
dex.
Do you?
Yeah, your leaderboard will be there. Let me see how I would get that over to you though. So I don't know if I can share. Hold on, yeah, I can share that.
Yeah, you should be able
All
to
right,
share it.
so let's see. So mine is not as interesting as Rob. So there it is. I'm at the top.
Let me see if I can blow you up here. Yeah, I don't have you. I don't think I've got it where I can blow you up here, Bill. Hold on just a second. We'll do it
No
on the
cracks
fly.
about how many windows I have open. That's how I remember things.
Let's see if we can get you.
So here is the node. This is the number one node, and it's showing. I don't know if
It's
Rob
not.
has me up there. Do you have me up in this at all?
Yeah, you're up. I just can't blow you up here. Go ahead, though.
Okay. This is this is this is the web page being generated by the node, and it's describing the node and it's showing what the node is up to. So right now, for instance, it's listening to Griffin 2 lore mode 401.3150. And that's one of the nodes. So if I go back to this page, this is what Rob was looking for that he can't. This is the SATDEX. And it shows that I've received 68 of 108 satellites, 18 were shinies, and I'm only 63% done. Uh, Yellow markers, it's like Pokemon cards, right? Wouldn't you say, Rob?
Yeah,
It's like Pokemon cards, or
yeah. You're
it's
collecting satellites.
a Rolodex, but they call it the SatDex. So these are the satellites that I've received. The little yellow mark is what they call a shiny, and it's a satellite that only I received on that pass, I think.
Yep.
That's what
Yeah,
it's
you're the
saying.
only one.
Yep.
Yeah, you're the only one that got it.
I'm the only one that got that satellite. So again, this is not as interesting as Rob's, but for some reason, right there, I was the only one that got a bunch. No, it's no. Once it goes into the lower part, that's just over the course of the node's life. So that's that. Anything else you want me to show? Or territories. So the world is broken into hexagons, and this is the territory that I'm reaching in the United States. So there is the outline of the United States, and you can see I'm here in the southeast in North Carolina, and so most of my 435s are concentrated in the east, and I'm stretching a little further west out in Nevada and California with the 400 megahertz. But here's global territories. And Rob is always up here, but this is the leaderboard you were talking about, right, Rob?
Yep. Yep. That's it.
So this is the whole world. And I usually see you up here, so
Yeah, I'm trying to
I
figure out how to get mine back up and running here, but
no problem. So I'll just keep so
so I'm
you're
not on
usually up
there.
here.
Somebody kicked me off the board.
They might have. Last time I looked at this, you were up there though. I think you've been kicked.
All right, so I'm gonna have
Kind
to
of
start paying
like
attention then.
kind of like how I lost my CW ranking in World Radio League.
Yeah, that'll happen, right? If you're not paying attention. Oh,
They
wait.
come for you, man.
So look at the um, on all bands. Looks like I'm number. So I'm booted down a little bit. Looks like I'm
Oh,
number 16.
all bands. I don't wait. Deep, polar, passive, hyper, loud, thermal, delta, polar, red. Are you looking at the left side?
So it's different. I'm looking at it on my phone. So um,
Ah, on all bands, top tiners, 1 to 12.
yeah, look at 13 to 24.
Yeah, I'm looking at 13 to 24, and
Number
I don't see
16.
you.
Who do you have for 16?
Red Mars dipole
Oh, that's interesting.
on all bands. Let
If you
me
go to
refresh it.
435, I'm number 10.
435. Let's see. I must be seeing something different than what you're seeing.
That's pretty interesting. I was looking to see, just checking to see if I,
Maybe I need. I'm afraid to refresh because sometimes you get kicked out. Let's go back to global territory. Maybe you refresh sooner. So you said you were number what on all bands?
16.
No, Red Mars is currently number 16 on all bands on my page. And for 35, you said you were 10. I don't see you, Rob. Usually I do though. But
That's
anyway,
interesting.
you'll see the colors here, and it shows where they're located. So if I go highlight polar Corona number 15, the white, I believe the white ones indicate where he's dominating. Go to, yeah, I don't see you, Rob. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I've got to figure out why. I'm going to try one other thing while I'm here. Let me try one other thing real quick. Now that is bizarre. All right, here I'll show you what I'm seeing here. Let me find the right scene. I'm going to have to change scenes so I can... Let me see if I can find that
Good night,
quickly
Dave.
here.
There's always some guy complaining about how many tabs I have open.
It's always
Great
that
man.
guy.
Oh, Tim is usually that guy.
All right, let's see here. So, wouldn't open for whatever reason in private browser, but it opened in just a regular browser, which is interesting. So if I go to global territories, right? So right here, number 16. And then if I scroll down here to the 435, number 10. So that's the only one. Well, I don't think I'm going to show up here. I've got to get my 437 board or my 137 board up. I'm going to try to do that this weekend, I think. I ordered another case for it here over the Big Spring sale, so I think I got everything I need now. But you haven't got one of these at all, huh, Bill? Uh-oh, I lost your audio, Bill. Bill, are you there, Bill?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I got you now.
All right. Do you recommend LNA for the 137 board?
So if you can find one, I mean, I haven't put mine together yet, but I've got, so Smitty gave me a pre-production version of his 137 LNA that he's not sure if he's going to sell it or not. And I said, dude, you got to sell it, right? There's people will buy that. But that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use that. And then what I don't have, though, is a filter. I don't have a bandpass filter for that frequency. So things...
Tim says you lost my audio because I have too many tabs open.
Uh-huh.
Trolls will be trolls.
But this is a fun little project. We've had a lot of fun playing with this. And you can try a little. Now I'm getting all kinds of weird audio. Is that you, Bill? That's Bill. I turned you off, Bill. What do you got going on there, Bill?
What happened? What happened?
Bill, you've got some sort of like some cycling audio issue there. I got you turned off. I can see the meter though. The meter's just pop, 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 pop. Let's see if you're back. I can still see the meter going. You got something funky going there, Bill.
I can't see.
I don't know. I'm going to turn you off again. Bill, I don't know if it's your Bluetooth. Is that battery powered Bluetooth? Is it, you got something, it'll spike when you talk, it'll spike and then it just cycles. Try now.
How about now?
No.
It's still doing it?
Yeah.
Still bad?
Still bad. Sounds like it's
You sound like you're getting abducted.
It's the Cylons, right? It's like the Cylon noise. It's just at a too high of a frequency. The Cylons are coming for you. Gray Man. Yeah, speaking of trolls, that's a good point. So at Dayton, we always rent out part of a bar for, what is that? Is that Saturday night? I think it's Saturday night that we do that. We rent out part of a bar called the Troll Pub, and everybody kind of just goes there and hangs out until we shut the place down or they kick us out, something like that. It's usually a pretty good time. And this past year was pretty good.
Where you battle out and like the ham radio kids table is better than late shift.
I'm sorry, say that again. Oh, is that where
you get battle?
Yeah, we throw down.
Out?
Yeah. That's where we throw it down. We do. I'm waiting to see what Tim says to that. He's too slow.
I won't promise that I wasn't coerced into saying that.
Oh, that's okay. It certainly sounds like that's Tim. Tim's always looking for some validation. He always needs a little bit of help. We're happy to give it to him, though. Tim knows. All he has to do is ask.
He knows he's in my pocket every day.
I do want to hear the story behind that. That's I think I want to hear the story behind that.
Well, you just gave me all this stuff, and then we talked about the PoE thing. The reason why I keep it in my pocket, besides the fact that I like the guy, he's really awesome, is that I forget people's names. I have tech in my head, and I'm very forgetful for people's dates and addresses and names and numbers. So one of the reasons why is because I keep forgetting what his name is, and I'm like, oh yeah, the Gray Man Voda, yeah. And so it's just like a reference, it's like, don't forget the guy's name. Don't forget the guy's name. You're going to see him again. Don't forget his name.
Well, it gets worse whenever call signs get introduced, right? And everybody calls everybody by call signs. So,
yeah.
Bill, I'm going to see. It looks like you're still cycling. Yeah, that's right. Bill, you're still cycling. I don't know what happened to you, buddy. It sounds like you have a cable that's like half plugged in, right? If you take your mic and plug it halfway in or something. Are we all talking about the same Tim? Oh, that's funny. Bill, you don't hear it because I turned it off. Here, hold on. Well, are you listening to your own audio? I don't listen to my own audio. Can you hear it? I don't think you're going to figure it out until you tear into things.
Canceling off of your headset.
Yeah, do you have noise canceling on your headset? I don't. It's like I wasn't sure if he was hearing us. Bill, it's like you're afraid to open your mouth or something. Somebody stitched your mouth up. All right, let's see. Oh, you're listening to the stream. Well, that's because I turned you off, Bill. Here, I'll turn you back on. Let's see. It's still there. And every time you speak, it like jumps up. There it is. Oh, there it is. Your mic
hear
go
me?
with it. You got a bad cable?
No, my bad.
Nope. We can't hear you talk. We just get the noise. A blinking Morse code if you're okay. He's doing it. I'm not going to look at you, Bill. All right, let me turn you off. Okay, let me get back. Did the chat have anything at all? Maybe this is going to be an early night. Somebody had mentioned, Hugh had mentioned a mesh mapper visual. So that's a good question. Stavros, do you have a favorite mesh mapping site or tool that you use?
I just Google it. So if it's
that's
for
what I always
or
end up doing.
MeshCore, and I just pick the first one that's there. There's this war driver thing that people are doing to map out networks too. I haven't really gotten into that yet, but that's cool.
That one. So that's. I was a little bit afraid of that one. Let's go ahead and pull it up though. I mean, it was a weird URL. Was it a .sh? It was something like that. Let's see. See if I can find. This might be it. Let me pull this up here. Is this the one that you were thinking of? This is a Greater Boston Mesh. A war drive. Let's see here. I'm just looking for the mapper. Where'd it go? This isn't the one I had come across the other day. This one looks pretty interesting, though. Looks like it's
Liam Cottle is the developer.
That's the big one?
He's like the main developer for MeshCore.
That's... Oh, I didn't realize that, right? Because there's a mesh map that's his mesh map. Let's see. Yeah. So, oh, that's his GitHub for it. That's not what I was looking for. This right here. All right, Bill, I'm shutting you off again. So this Liam here is the primary developer for MeshCore?
Yep. Liam Cottle, Scott, and then I think there's one other one. Andy Kirby.
Is Andy a developer though, or is he just the front man?
Well, I know he worked on some UI stuff for a really cool device called the P4.
Okay.
It basically looks like a ESP32 phone.
Okay.
I don't know though his coding skills. I've never talked to him.
Gotcha. So, I am west of Fort Worth, and I'm in this square county right here. This is called Wise County. And you can see there, let me try to zoom in a little bit better so you guys can see it. You're seeing 0 nodes here, but that's because the entire county is on medium fast. So they kind of went off of the standard radio configuration, and it is filthy filthy with nodes and tons of infrastructure type nodes, like up on 100-foot and 200-foot towers. So, I mean, the coverage in this county is remarkable. But what I would love to do is to try to get at least half of those folks to switch over to MeshCore. We are, let's see here. I want to bring up the MeshCore. Let's see. Let's look at a MeshCore map.
Your topology over there is pretty flat.
Yeah. We're, Western Texas, Westish Texas. So, yeah, we get really great coverage. We get really good distance, especially when you get that thing up 200 feet, right? You start to get some really good coverage. Now, MeshCore in our area had not been any good at all until probably 6 weeks ago. And then all of a sudden, it just started popping up everywhere. You can see now we're starting to get some decent infrastructure here. Now, this one's out near me. This one's a little bit south of me. That's probably the closest one that's on the map. And I think this is using MQTT for the map, right? That's usually what these guys do. Well, no, that can't be because they're not using MQTT in MeshCore, right? So I'm not sure how. I think these are maybe manually added. There it is. Okay. So these are manual. Yeah, so that one said 3 months. Let's see here. What was this one? 4 days ago. Right, so we're starting to see people 2 months ago. Starting to get some pretty decent coverage. 3 months. Hey, Bill, you want to try it again? You're still kind of cycling there, buddy.
How about now?
Your audio's good, but I can still hear that something in the background. Now, are you tuning it down, whatever it is?
I haven't done anything.
So you're getting some sort of interference.
Well, one of the things is that when my Bluetooth goes south, it removes this as a choice, and I'm not blaming your what's this program called anyway?
vMix.
vMix doesn't see it anymore, and it tries something else. It was actually trying the camera, and the camera does have a mic, but I have it turned off. So I don't know what you were hearing because I couldn't hear it. But before it goes bad, let me say one thing. I heard you say you want to get people to switch to MeshCore. Why do we have to have one or the other? I have I have a MeshCore node up and a Meshtastic node. Why can't we have them both?
Yeah, so while you were fighting your demons, you probably didn't hear everything I said. I said I'd like to have half of the people switch over to MeshCore. Right? So I'm not saying...
the demons block that part.
Yeah.
Asterisk, preferably at 500 kilohertz bandwidth.
There you go. Exactly.
And see, then they would have to buy 2 of Stavros's nodes. Works out good for everybody.
So I had an email from someone. They said, "Hey, I saw you're going to be going to the Raleigh, North Carolina show," and they said most of us that are going to the show do MeshCore, not Meshtastic, and all your stuff right now is preloaded with Meshtastic. So it'd be good to have a way of reflashing it at the show. And so I actually have a Raspberry Pi touchscreen tablet on the table with a USB cable. And just plug it in, and you can pick what. Yeah. So you buy the hardware and plug it in over USB, and you just reflash right on the spot.
Beautiful. Flash it yourself. Go at it. More power to you.
Yeah. So on the Raspberry Pi, it's so fast because you're not fighting with Windows drivers, and it's like 2 seconds and it flashes.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. So I'm excited to see. I mean, all this stuff is, essentially 2026. None of this stuff was here last year. But it's just, it always cracks me up how I go out here and I look at my county and, any unsuspecting person would think, well, there's nothing going on there. This probably has one of the better footprints of any county. Now, there's also a lot of good stuff going on down in Austin Way and San Antonio Way. And you can see they're heavy with mesh core down here. Look at that.
Should check Seattle. They got like the whole West Coast.
Really? They were kind of one of the early ones.
Bridge. Yep.
Oh,
they're trying to bridge Washington and all of Washington.
Egads, look at that. I mean, this doesn't seem helpful. This feels like oversaturation here. I mean, it's interesting, right? Can mesh core handle this? It's pretty impressive if they can. I'm sorry, what's that?
It's only the repeaters that are relaying the data. Everything else is considered a zero hop. So
right, but these are all, they're almost all repeaters. Look at them. Right, everything that's got
what color
this,
are the repeaters?
They're the ones that the repeaters. They're the ones that have the little repeater or the tower symbol. Well, maybe that's not correct. I know in the mesh core map itself, this might be different. This is likely different. Repeater. Okay.
In that pop-up you have.
Yeah, that's a repeater. So that's a green one. This is a repeater. In the mesh course app, whenever you pull up the map, if it's got the little tower, then that's a repeater. So almost all of these nodes are repeaters. This looks like a room. Right? There's a room server. You have very few nodes, which is fine, right? They're probably not advertising themselves a lot. But, just that number of repeaters, that feels like oversaturation. But maybe it can handle it. It'd be fun to try.
The routing protocol allows it to hop up to 64 times, so I'm assuming this should be okay. No, they're saying that they're getting almost no packet loss in Seattle. Yep. That's kind of why I'm excited about the voice, because if they can do decent telemetry and text data and not have any issues with that kind of network,
yeah,
we've got some hope.
I wonder though, right? We're talking downtown Seattle here. Well, I guess it's bigger, but still pretty much Seattle proper. You have 168 nodes, and the vast majority of them look like they're repeaters. So if somebody down here sends a message, does somebody up here get it? Are we getting beyond that 64 node hop? I don't know. But
you're assuming that the 64 hop is going to be concentrated.
Yeah, good point. Good point. That's probably not. It would be silly if it did that, right?
Yeah, and then I'm sure I have to go through the protocol. I'm sure there's some type of it won't retransmit a packet it already received. So, and the only packets that are flood packets are going to be the ones that are in the public channel, because everything else is predictive routing.
And those are only flood adverts, or does it do its own flooding from time to time?
So there is a time sequence of when it can do its own. Mm-hmm. You have the ability in the phone to do zero or flood.
Yeah.
Zero hop or flood. So on my device, for example, I use the button. A single press does zero hop. Double press, it does a flood route.
Yeah, that's really nice. Then you don't even have to go into the
Yeah.
app to do that. I like that. I'm gonna have to get another one of those devices. I need one for MeshCore now.
Well, short term, you can just reflash the one you've got.
Yeah, I can go back and forth.
Yeah. You can really test to see what you could do before you break it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty crazy. I mean, even Portland's doing pretty well. I mean, the whole coast here is doing pretty well, actually.
Which
Wow.
map is this? Go down by the Charlotte and see if you see me. North of Charlotte. Mooresville.
I see. This is probably you right here, Bill.
Maybe. Nope. That's I've seen that node. What's that one to the right of it? No, and that's not me. That one.
Right there, HRT.
That's it. That's me.
you.
Oh my goodness.
There's Bill.
LowMesh Pocket Ranger. I love when things work. Half the time you're just holding your breath going, yeah, it's going to work, I promise. One eye open.
That's manually added because it says manually added, so that wasn't because of an advert. That was me just placing it there. But I am there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
this
kilohertz.
very node.
I'm trying to remember which. I don't know where Paul's at. So one of our buddies is a flight attendant, and sometimes we can find him whenever he's in Tokyo.
Yep. I don't know where they stay. He flies both into Narita and Himeda.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it'd be close here if he was here.
That's near Shinjuku.
Shinjuku.
It's been a few years since I've been to Japan.
Hey, we've got a few folks going this year to the Hamfest in August.
I'm hoping to go.
So I'm not doing DEF CON this year because I'm going to go to Japan instead.
You're going to take me with you? Oh, how nice. You shouldn't have.
We'll find room to put you in my carry-on.
Me and you can hold hands while we walk down Akihabara, getting our anime fix.
That's right.
I'll go if they give me a media pass. I don't even think I can afford to go to DEF CON.
Oh, it's very expensive.
Is it?
The booths, I think, are $1,800 to $2,000. I think something.
Yeah, that's
tough. I think tickets are pretty spendy too if you can get them.
It's like $600-700 a person,
something like that. But when you got the company, a lot of these people are sent by the company. It's a company expense, so. And a lot of people can afford to spend that on a ticket.
There's a conference right in the first part of the week that's more business oriented, and then is that Black Hat that's the few days before DEF CON?
Yeah, like Linux security.
Yeah. So I think that's maybe you can get a twofer, right? Get the company to pay. Oh, what is this? What's this out here? The overseer.
If that was Guam, I'd say it's Tim.
Yeah, but it's not.
No.
It's in the wrong ocean.
Yep. Wow.
Talk about
wow.
Yeah. Let's go back to the mesh map here. I want to see. Let's see. See if our friend of the channel, Rob, is here. If we can see him. Where's he at? See if he's in Alaska here. I think.
I love how privacy just goes right out the window with this tool.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, where do you live? Oh, there you are. Let's see you in a minute.
Yeah. Well, that's, what I do with mine is I set a permanent location, and I put it in the center of the town square where I'm at.
Smart.
Mine's at the fire station.
I mean, not, somebody wants to find it hard enough, it's not that difficult. But no sense in handing it to them on a silver platter, right? So, all right. So maybe we got, Bill, I don't know if you were watching chat. I certainly wasn't. I don't know if we got the fix for folks who were wanting to see the map.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My mic issues. Let's see. Blinking Morse code if you're okay.
Yeah, everybody was worried about you, Bill.
Gray Man trolling my mic now.
Eric says he offsets his location by a mile. There's about 1 million people inside the circle. Well, the other
Eric
thing you
also
can do,
mentions there's no legal preset for the ISM band where he is, and the phone app is closed source, so they can't fix it.
Oh, that's interesting.
They can't do what? They can't.
Going back
what?
to that. Eric says there is no legal preset for our ISM band, and the phone app is closed source, so can't fix it. Tim says empty Leo sats are packed. Empty Leo set packs are back in stock.
Will this even work? In the settings, you go to all the way down. There's 500 kilohertz. That's what you would choose to be legal settings. But then you would not be able to communicate with anybody else unless they change that as well.
Right.
So it's in the app. Yes, the app is closed source. That's possible. I vibe coded an Android app and it worked.
Oh, yeah? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I have a working Android example on MeshCore of using 2 Android phones and 2 of these Pocket Rangers and talking in one phone, and it's sending the audio through one Ranger to the other and then playing on the other Android phone.
Nice.
So simulating walkie-talkie through and using MeshCore as a backbone, data backbone.
We're going to have to get a demo of that at some point. That would be fun to see.
The next interview or the next YouTube video.
There you go. All right. What are we doing here? So almost 1 o'clock there. Almost midnight here. Let's see. Just checking here.
It's been 5 minutes since Bill's mic has gone south.
Was that Gray Man? Was he pointing that out? That sounds like something Tim would say.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
No, that was me emulating Gray Man.
You're channeling
Tim. Gray Man. Yeah. I just need a really cool white beard. Gray beard, sorry.
EOD, Tim. Are you still going to Ham Fair? So we have one of our buddies that's in the chat all the time, and he's actually started doing some streaming of his own. He's over in Guam. Okay, yep. So he's gonna get a chance to meet him actually at Tokyo for the ham fair. So that'll be nice.
When I was at CES, I had some
Channel name
Japanese
is Radios and
distributors.
Rockets.
Japanese distributors interested in potentially sourcing and or selling in Japan the Pocket Ranger.
Really?
Which was, yeah, that was very interesting.
That is interesting. That's pretty cool. I'm assuming you're following up on that a little bit.
Every now and then, I ask them if they're trying to check for Godzilla or not, but that's probably why they don't. I'm kidding.
You scared them away. They're like, oh man, this guy, the Godzilla guy.
You know, I can only handle one market at a time. And
There you go.
the U.S. is demanding enough before I even get to the U.K., which is where all MeshCore is at the moment. So I'll branch out, and I definitely want to be in Japan. I definitely want to go back to Japan. I love that place. The best culture shocks you'll ever have is there.
It's it'll be my first trip. Bill's a pilot, so he's been there multiple times, and then of course our buddy Paul is he goes there twice a week.
Going
Well, I eat
into
sushi,
family.
so it was fun.
I don't fly over there.
What's that, Bill?
I don't. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I don't fly over there. I don't operate over there. I fly to visit family, and yeah, I am fascinated by most of Asian culture. It's very polite and clean, and you know what to expect.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be there about 3 weeks. So
That's enough time to go up and down the whole islands, take the fast bullet train, go all the way down to see. Actually, I didn't go down there. I went to Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka, but that's as far as south as I went. You'll go to Nara, and the deer are bowing. So it's cool thing.
yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to it for sure. It's going to be a blast. The problem is I know
You like sushi?
I love sushi.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like to try different foods too, so you know, I mean, I believe me, I've got my limits. There's some things I can't do, but you know, I'm probably a more adventurous eater than most folks, put it that way.
I enjoy sushi.
Most of it's going to be eel or pork. It's going to be some type of nigari or like pork schnitzel kind of looking thing.
Well, I'm hoping to like eat my body weight in tuna while I'm there. So it's one of my favorites.
So much mercury.
Along
Like
that same line, I really enjoy Korean food. Cooking at the table.
Oh, you like paying to cook and work for your food?
I enjoy a Korean barbecue. You can find them all over Asia, by the way, but I do enjoy it.
I met you. You probably know Muzi Works.
Yeah.
The company Muzi. Yeah. So I actually had, I think it was Korean barbecue with Simon over at Muzi Works. It was me, Simon, and Ken, the CEO of Rack, and we were all eating together. It was my first time at a Korean barbecue. So I have two of these Asian guys trying to teach me how to navigate through this. You get your meat here, your sauces here. They come to the table. you get your broth if you want like some type of udon style thing, and it was
That sounds like
that
a
was a fun
blast.
experience.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
like a blast.
I have a couple of their antennas. They're very much like yours. The ones I have, they're very similar.
Yeah, I like their designs. I like their antennas. They're generally pretty good. I've had good luck with them, certainly. No complaints. I mean, that little kind of pager style, I forget what that thing is called. The one with the little comes with the little belt clip holster.
The
That's
R1.
yeah, I think that's it. That's a great little device.
Yeah, he the last time I saw it, he has the base is made of like some type of aluminum or steel. So it actually gives it some heft to it. I think
Yeah.
he did that to make it waterproof.
Oh, interesting.
But, yep.
Yeah, I never took it apart. I never had a need to take it apart. But you're right. I mean, it does have a little bit of it gives it more of a quality feel too. You know, just a little bit of weight.
What he's doing now isn't the dual band like a big hot topic now, which is 2.4 gigahertz.
Yeah,
LoRa, and I think, and now he grouped up with Elecro, which is the same PCB company that I make my PCBs through.
nice.
And now they're selling. I'd like to see where 2.4 gigahertz goes. I have my doubts, but I like to see somebody build something with it.
Stavros, are you one of those guys who gets a device and then immediately takes it apart?
No, because now you can just Google the FCC ID and see the government taking apart the product instead, and then you can just take those photos and be like, that's what they did.
Gotcha.
No, I think Muzi even has a see-through rendering on the product page of the R1. You don't even need to take it apart. He has such a crazy 3D printing setup. It's just a massive amount of printers, and he's very organized. He's very clean. Everything has its place. Everything is labeled correctly. It's something I aspire to be, hopefully as organized as him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I can try.
So I'm trying to think. The Elecro person I talk with is Annie Shee. Now that's on like the creator side. It's probably you probably have a different contact, but
yeah, my guy's named Roy.
Roy.
Yep.
It's like Bob.
Yeah, they changed their names. They probably all
Sure.
have like 6 names.
Right. Yeah, I've liked working with Elecro. I mean, they've always been pretty straightforward, easy to work with, from a creator standpoint.
I think really the two companies right now are what's JCL PCB, which is where everybody gets their PCBs from, because they have a very nice parts list directory. And then for me, Elecro. So when I need parts, I just go on JCL's page, get the part number, and say, "Hey, buy me this," and then they'll just buy it, and they'll probably mark it up like a few percent. But
yeah,
I don't always have to.
JCL does some wicked 3D printing as well.
I have some metal parts that I have 3D printed coming in. They're in titanium, and they're very cheap. I haven't gotten it in yet. I'm waiting for it. We'll see how the quality is.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, that stuff is just cool, right? That's being able to print that type of stuff that's just so cool. I wish that we had like a real maker space that had that kind of equipment, right? Where you could get your hands on it here, but that's not the case.
The company in New York City that I work for and I work with basically every day, they have a lot of things that are constantly being produced and made, and So we told the boss one day was like, you know what, I want to have my own 3D printer. So he buys his own 3D printer, and he goes, "Oh, Steve, can you go change this one part for me?" Okay, I send it to his printer. It prints out in like an hour. He's like, "Oh no, I don't like it." Okay, print it again. Change this. And this additive and constant changing culture that he has, he goes, if I would have had to wait for you to ship it, for me to receive it, we would have been months down the road. And now it took days to go through all of these rapid changes. So, I'm glad that, like he saw such a high value in it. And it is a value, because we have, sometimes you can go with a mold, right? There was a mold for like $6,000 or something. And he's like, yeah, Steve, just go print it. Print me 600 of them, please. Okay. It's cheaper than the mold.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I just got my first printer here just about a week ago. So I'm still.
Did you get?
I can never remember the name of it. It's the Bamboo P1S, I think, or yeah, P1S. That's it. With the thing on top, the dryer, whatever, the AMS2. That's
the
it.
AMS. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got to get my lingo down. I'm such a rookie with it, right? I'm just getting my feet wet with it.
Steve, do you get the AMS that does the 4 colors?
Yeah.
Say that again, Bill.
Do you print these?
I do. Those I can only print on either the A1 or the H series. So the other ones, like this, was printed using the Bamboo Labs A1 Mini, and those can handle PETG completely fine. But for PET, this material requires a much hotter nozzle because the heat, the transition temperature for this to melt is much higher. Can't have your nodes melting in the sun.
Yeah, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal.
It's a bad look.
Yeah.
So funny story. The first version of this I printed in PLA, and I'm like, I put it outside in the Florida heat, and the thing just melted. And I brought it in the house, and I said, well, I don't think I can make a product that's solar that you can't put in the sun. So I had to go back to the drawing board and test all different types of filament out to find one that would work. But and then Jason over at Rockland, we were trying to figure out like a name for the color, like black color. And he was like, let's call it Blackout Edition for a solar product. Blackout, cool. Like an oxymoron.
So did it, when it melted, did it have like a dolly type droop to it, or did it just puddle? I've never like actually seen one of those things completely melt down.
Well, because this is so packed with parts, what happened was the edges, basically the screw holes popped out, and the whole edges just flared.
Oh, okay.
And everything was sitting on the parts internally.
So I bought this one from JCL PCB.
Try to get out of the way.
And I'll try to get it. Anyway, I bought this at JCL PCB, and I printed one myself. I went out to the truck today, and this is the antenna. I think you can get this on Rockland. It was bent over. This case just, and it's not even hot yet here. But yeah, PLA is not the way to go with any sort of heat.
45, 50 degrees Celsius maximum, and then it starts to melt. And 45 degrees Celsius, sure, it sounds like a lot if you know Celsius, but reflective heat is so reflective against the ground, against the roof, against the house. The environment, the air heats up so much more than the actual feeling of the temperature. It's insane. Like a roof can get to like 160 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's only 80 outside, 90.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's, that's the whole fry an egg on the sidewalk deal, right? Yep. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to learning more about the printing, all the printing stuff. Be another rabbit hole.
You'll have fun. Bamboo Labs makes it simple enough now that you won't have as many problems with the basically it auto levels itself. It even freaking shakes itself like crazy to do noise canceling while it's printing. That way, it's not so annoying.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was certainly, I waited until, I wanted an appliance, right? I didn't want, it just, if you're a normal human being and you look at kind of the whole 3D printing culture, right? It just, something's not right there, right? It's like you get this device and you have to print the parts that you need to run the device, right? It's like, what? I have to print my own parts to make this thing work the way it needs to. What? It just, so I wanted an appliance, so that's definitely why I went the Bamboo way. Even though it's a spy printer, Eric, yes, I got a spy printer.
Every every ESP32 chip and SPRIF chip that we're buying, I could be a potential spy chip. So it's every router that we've bought from China could be a spy router. Just don't do anything illegal. Don't say anything you shouldn't. Conduct yourself as you would. Would Mama approve?
What was I seeing? I just saw a blurb of it. I saw where Google, what did they just cracked some major encryption. Do you guys see that? I'm just Googling it real quick here, see if I can find what the news was. It was some sort of, you guys, am I the only one that saw that? You guys didn't see that? Let me see if I can
No,
find
it was
it.
something March 26. Google warns quantum computers could hack encrypted systems by 2029. Something about cracking Bitcoin in 9 minutes.
That was it. I thought they did crack Bitcoin. Is that not
Could
true?
crack. It's a could.
Oh, okay. So I probably got, like Forbes, right? I probably saw the Forbes headline that says they did crack it. But yeah, okay. That's that'll be a threshold for sure. I'm glad to hear that's a could and not a did, at least for a little while. Our illusion of security. All right, let's see.
Security by obscurity?
Yeah, yeah. That's one approach. Let's see here. I'm trying to see. I don't think we've got.
What's the password? The password is not a password.
That's right. The whole password thing, right, is kind of interesting too. The whole kind of idea of arbitrary password changes and all that kind of stuff, right? That's all interesting to me. And I know for a couple of years the guidance has been you shouldn't be changing your password at some arbitrary timetable, right? You should wait and change your password when you've got some concern that it's been compromised.
Isn't that then too late?
That's certainly one way to think about it, right? If you think it's been compromised or it could have been compromised, yeah, maybe it's too late at that point. But that's the NIST guidance right now is don't change your passwords unless, don't just pick an arbitrary time period and say you're going to change them every 30 days, every 90 days, every 180 days, whatever. I
keep clicking on forgot my password because I've replaced it so many times I have no idea what it is anymore.
Well,
and I'm running out of passwords because they remembered all that. Sorry, you used this a month ago.
That's right. You used that password 16 times ago. You cannot reuse passwords until you've hit the 20th time. Yeah.
I add 3 characters to the end of that password, and eventually, I forget them.
Yeah, and then the other thing,
somebody super smart can now build your password based off the information you just gave us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's whatever his password does plus 3 different letters at the end or different characters.
Way to go, Bill! You just
that would be really hard for
yourself.
That would be really hard for me, but I imagine that's easy for someone else. I have no idea what you think you might get, but
you think Enigma was cracked by knowing every letter? No. I love that movie.
It's a good movie. And then the other thing too. So I've been, and I'm sure you're dealing with this a little bit as well. Stavros is, since you have your website out there, right? They keep shrinking the time periods of the certs. How long those certs will be good before you have to.
I do my own. I have my own script that runs and does the SSLs myself.
Are you doing like what is it? The daggone it, who's the free people that do the certs? Is that the one you're using? The We Encrypt. That's it, yes. Right?
Let's Encrypt.
Let's Encrypt. That's it.
Yeah, Let's Encrypt with an Nginx firewall load balancer.
Yeah.
Normally I use HA proxy, but this time I used Nginx. Because that's what the AI tool wanted to use, so I went with it. Starting to sound lazy, referencing to the AI tool. I talked to a developer. I'm like, so how many lines of code did you write this week? He's like, 3. I'm like, okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
It explains a lot.
Well, it's interesting. There are, it used to be when IT shops were evaluated, one of the criteria that they would be evaluated on is how many developers they have, right? In terms of what their capability and their sophistication and all the rest of that is. That's still an important metric, but it's flipped these days, right? If you have too many engineers, if you have too many developers, then you're seen as being inefficient. And, it's kind of an interesting thing, right? It's like, what? You have 30 developers? Don't you guys use AI? What are you doing over there? You should be able to do that with 6 guys. 6 guys in Claude code. Come on.
Yeah. Claude. I have Grok in the car. I've got Gemini for most tasks, and then I use Cursor for the IDE coding.
I use Kiro for the IDE stuff, and I let it pick the LLM behind the scenes, right? You can specify, but you can let it pick as well. And then I use a lot of Grok and I use a lot of Gemini as well. It's interesting. So I use some of these other AIs are really, really bad. So I like the let me find it here. It's the DuckDuckGo web or search engine.
That's search engine, yeah.
Yeah, but the AI that's built into that is
Onion browser too while you're at it.
No, I played around with that for a while. But yeah, I haven't used that.
Or you don't want to go to DEF CON?
I haven't used that in a long time. But the AI that's built into the DuckDuckGo is awful. I mean, it's just downright. It just lies to you. I think it's just. I'm wondering if there's like. I'm wondering if it isn't going to come out that this was just a joke. It's that bad.
It was probably built on DeepSeek or something. Didn't China come out with some free
right.
model?
Right. But it's got to be one of the worst. But it's kind of funny. So, like if I'm in, depending on which browser I'm in, one of the ones that I use defaults to DuckDuckGo. I have it set up to default to DuckDuckGo. And every time I forget that I'm in that browser and it does a AI, everything's an AI search today, right? Unless you tell it you don't want AI in your search string. But every time that comes up and it gives me their AI spiel, it's like, oh my gosh. Somebody please just turn that off. Save the electricity. Turn that one off. Timbot. I've never heard of Timbot, Tim. Let's Encrypt. Yeah, that's the one I was struggling with, Eric. Crap flow. Hey, 45. What are you doing up this late? Good to see you out there, 45 Auto. Just coming in after midnight. Looks like Tim's getting some abuse out there. We'll let it roll on its own. All right, what else we got?
With 3D printing, you'll be able to make these belt clips, and I've got this one coming out.
Ooh.
This is for a strap.
Nice.
Whatever. This is when I look at the camera, everything's in reverse, and I'm gonna have the dyslexia in a minute.
That looks pretty good. I think the next node I'm gonna get is gonna be the FDE. I like the blue, but I've had buyer's remorse on the FDE. Yeah, look at that. Oh, look at that. That just looks pretty. Look at that. Looks pretty.
That's the one I have here.
You got the FDE, Lau? Yeah, see? Yep. So much of what I have is either FDE or OD green that I thought, I'm going to try something different. And then, like, almost immediately after I bought it, I'm like, why didn't I get that FDE?
You know how hard it was to get that color down right? I went through all of my tactical gear, and I'm like, okay, so I got this, I got the jacket, I got the vest, I got the suppressor, I've got the put everything together. All the colors don't match. FDE is just a word. There's no actual color.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to go, and then China's like, I don't know, you want brown? I'm like, no, I want flat dark earth. Like, brown? And they're like, please give me a Pantone color. And I'm like,
oh, that's tough. That is tough. I wonder if OD green is better. Probably not, but it feels like that
So
might have a choice, or that might have an actual Pantone color.
somebody recommended that I for the next color. They sent me an email. They said as a suggestion, the next color should be the same green that Meshtastic uses. So kind of like a matrix neon green.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a pink or purple, but I don't know who would buy that.
OD green actually has a Pantone number. So that's easy.
Yeah.
Olive drab. It's got a number.
Because I have all the molds, so to do a color change is only $100. It's nothing.
Nice.
And I can do with $100. It's probably about 500, 600 pieces.
Now, how about I love FDE and OD green together, right?
Ooh.
So instead of a black case,
color?
yeah, instead of the black case, right, go with the OD green, and then with your FDE stripe, or vice versa, either one. I have a couple of bags in that kind of setup, and they're my favorite bags. They look so good. They look so good. A bedazzled version. Tim's suggesting the bedazzled version.
Bedazzled. I'll do a deal with Swarovski. Put crystals on
there you go. Yeah, Julie will probably be the only one that buys one.
I remember I started printing in this color. It was a custom plastic that I got from China. And when I went on the Reddit to read like reviews of people who were using it, they were like, "Yeah, that blue sickly color is so ugly." I'm like, "Sickly blue?" Like, but it's like baby blue. It looks cute. Like, all right, fine. So I stopped it.
Sickly blue.
I don't think I've ever heard
blue.
Yeah, blue characterized in that fashion. I like blues.
Oh,
yeah, that's a. I mean, that's like a. I don't know what like a cloud blue or a.
Pastel.
Yeah.
I have heard green. I have heard green compared to sick.
Well, yeah, Mr. Yuck, right? I mean, that's what I always think of, right? You guys know who Mr. Yuck is, don't you? Bill, you know who Mr. Yuck is, don't you?
I'm afraid I don't.
What?
I'm about to Google it right now. Dude, no.
You guys...
Oh, I can't remember. Remember, I'm old.
Well, that's why I thought you would know what it was. Right? So whenever...
I've probably forgotten.
Whenever we were in school, they handed you a whole bunch of stickers, right? These Mr. Yuck stickers, and you were supposed to take them home so your parents could put them on all the poisonous stuff.
I'm sure that's offending some culture at this point.
Yeah, it probably is.
That's it.
When did this... Oh, you know what? So this is a UPMC thing. Okay. I thought this was a thing. Maybe it wasn't. So I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I grew up in the Pittsburgh area. So maybe this was just a thing.
University of Pittsburgh School.
I never realized that. I thought this was like universal.
Mm-hmm.
So how about that?
I mean, if you said stop, drop, and roll, I'd get that.
Okay.
Reference.
Well, that's good.
Or Smokey the Bear.
Just imagine. So this was like my first introduction to stickers that I remember, right? Is them sending you home with a whole roll of Mr. Yuck stickers. Yep, that's right, 45, a Yinzer. Eric had it in Wisconsin. Nice. Yeah, the poison control guy. Ted got it. All right. West Coast had Mr. Ick. Okay. Mr. Yuck and Indy. So it got around then. It got around.
It got around, literally. Doo-doo. Alrighty, I'm starting to make bad jokes. I'm going to bed.
All right. Hey, you did quite well. You hung for quite a while. You need to get yourself some sleep.
Yeah, I'm starting to see you. Just double trouble.
Double trouble. I think I'm about ready to shut her down. We have a pretty we've dropped below 30. So that's usually my cue. When we drop below 30 in the stream, it's time to say goodnight. So
Bill, you got to stop running all those other computers and boosting the numbers.
that's right.
Bill 1, Bill
You
2,
caught
Bill
me.
3.
You
Bill,
caught me.
checks in the mail.
I'll see you tomorrow, right, Bill? I've got your third
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Do you know who William Clark Green is, Bill?
No,
You probably don't.
I'm too tired.
No, he's a red dirt country guy here in Texas. And I'll send you a link he's got a song called Creek Don't Rise. So I've heard you use that phrase like twice today. So I was thinking
Lord
you're William.
willing, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah.
My grandmother used to say that. People from the South say that all the time. I have a question, a node question. Stavros, I sent you an email, but maybe you can answer it here. Since I'm from now on, before I do anything, I am going to ask you. So two nodes run off.
Split it.
Do you know you can't split it? Can't split the power?
I wouldn't do it because there's still negotiation. There's still communication between the switch and the PoE module. It's not a PoE injector. Just don't do it. If it was a passive PoE injector, then yes, you could do it because it's just DC voltage and that's it. But this is an active PoE, so don't do it.
I won't do it. When I don't listen to you, I tend to blow stuff up.
All right.
I mean, isn't that fun?
It gets expensive, though.
It's also expensive.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
So, all right, gang. We'll wrap it up here. Any last words, you guys? Either of you would like to share any final thoughts, words of wisdom? Throw out anything you'd like to share with the 27 people that are still hanging out? That's a no. We'll take that as a no.
Well, I'm going to do some shameless... I'll let him go first. He's the guest.
Oh, thank you. If you're going to make a right-hand turn, make sure it doesn't say don't turn on red. So that's the only advice I have. Unless you're in New York City, and then you're not allowed to turn at all.
Nice. That's nice advice.
All right, I'm going to do a shameless plug of sorts. Hey, y'all. My name is Bill. Kilo Zero Whiskey Hotel Whiskey. It's right up there. My channel is Ham Radio Tectonics. Head on over there. I have an eclectic list that you'll be able to find something you like.
That's it, Bill? Subscribe, watch all the videos. Bill, you still trying to hit a watch hour number?
Yeah, and that's all my fault, of course. Because my channel watchers, they're really good. They get in there, and I have some super regulars. But I'll tell you a little story. So, if I was a real YouTuber, I'd watch the analytics. So, yeah, I have 2,000 or so subscribers, and I'll get 100, 200 views on some of my more eclectic stuff, my Tiny GS, etc. I went out and did a POTA the other day, and half of my subscribers, which is not usual, watched it like right now. So I'm gonna get out and do some more POTAs. I like to do them. It's just the weather's warming up, CW and the SSB. So that's in the works. I've learned my lesson.
Okay.
That was the
POTA.
POE review that you were doing, the POTA?
Sorry, say again.
Because I saw those.
What's that?
The PO, your review of this, I saw had a few hundred views. The POE.
Yeah, that's
POE.
like I said, those are the regulars that are going to get in there, and they're going to. Some of them are going to jump in the comments, like 45 and Cooley. They're always there. PRK, Jimmy, PRK Radio. But that I think it was I did a POTA before I did the Node video. So let's see.
I'll have to go see that
Creek
one.
doesn't. Here's a little gem by Ken about why the creek don't rise is important. Interesting. Ken KQ4STF says creek doesn't rise is referring to a letter to the president, referring to the Creek Indians. Interesting. I didn't know that. And I'm a history major who pays attention to that kind of stuff. Interesting. But that's all I got to say.
That's your assignment. That's your assignment, Bill. Check that out. All right.
I'm going to go look that up.
Yeah. Thanks to all of you for hanging out. I'm always amazed at how many people are willing to listen to, especially in these late hours, listen to us kind of babble and just BS and hang out with us. So it's much appreciated. Thank you all. Hope you all have a great weekend. Happy Easter. Happy early Easter to everyone. And for those of you that are in Raleigh going to the show, have a great time. Say hello to our friends here. And, we'll do it again next week. So thank you all, and we'll catch you next time. 7-3, gang.
Bye.